buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are on him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Both the boys with you for the next 3. Reese and Cole along for the ride. Jake Trotter going to join us at 10:33. Andrew Siciliano, who, along with Paul Keels, did the rare double dip, and this is the second time that he did it. He called a Buckeye game on a Saturday and a Browns game on a Sunday. He did it once last year as well. Paul did it once last year, but that is quite the double to pull off in one weekend. So he will join us at 11:03. Looking forward to having Andrew on at 11:33 on the program. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas at 971 BFS, and we will take care of those at 11 o'clock. A little bit of higher lower as well. We'll do that at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. Probably, I would say probably once a week, sometimes more than that. I will get a text from a buddy of mine who is not, as we like to say around here, knee deep in the muck on college football, but just someone who turns on their college football on a Saturday and will oftentimes get wind, usually via social media or message boards or something like that, of some sort of a NIL issue that is annoying, or the kid at UNLV last week who decided that I'm going to leave school and preserve my eligibility, and what was promised to me was not offered, and say, boy, I just really wish the sport was the way that it used to be. I wish we could go back to the way that it used to be. And my response to that is kind of the standard one that it's been for the last several years, which is, okay, fine, but then we got to give all the money back. Because the one thing about this sport is once everybody started taking the money, and I'm talking about people in administration, coaches, strength, staff, all of it, once they started becoming millionaires and getting wealthy from the sport, then it flipped. It became too big to ignore. The sport became too big to ignore for a lot of reasons, primarily, though, because of television. The television Saturday experience is so good. I told that story on Monday about Beamsy asking me if college football on last Saturday, if college football was as popular when I was a kid as it is now. And I said, no, it wasn't. There weren't as many games. You get a handful of games on a Saturday, but you couldn't watch every team in the country if you wanted to every single Saturday, and now that you can. The other thing that changed over the last 30 years that has just made the sport boom has been not only the willingness, but the eagerness of network television, especially through the 90s and early 2000s, to play these two conferences primarily, the SEC and the Big Ten, in big windows on network television and promote them accordingly. And what they did is they took a regional sport that was primarily one where you cared about your team and your rivals and your special rivalry game that would happen at the end of the year, and they've turned it into national brands. The very best example of this is, without question, the Southeastern Conference and their television package with CBS. This took a sport, a conference that is the most regional of any conference, and they made it national over the course of 30 years. And Mike Slive was the SEC commissioner. There's a guy named Roy Kramer who actually got the deal started all the way back in the 90s. And one of the things that they were pretty smart about is they weren't so worried about what they were getting year to year from CBS. In fact, for the while, it was probably the best deal in the history of broadcast television. CBS was paying nothing, essentially, for Southeastern Conference games at 3:30, and they would get the biggest game of the year, and they'd get one primetime game throughout the year. In the old days, it was Florida, Tennessee, and more recently, it was Bama, LSU would be the one primetime game. And in exchange for that, the Southeastern Conference got exposure nationally every single Saturday. So we talked about this on Monday. The guy calling the Ole Miss game, talking about their enrollment through the roof. My buddy, who I just spoke to yesterday, his daughter visited South Carolina and Clemson. Well, why? How did that happen? Well, college football is what happened. they saw the color of it. They saw Saturdays in the fall in those places, and they wanted to be a part of it. Furthermore, to kind of buttress this point, I saw these ratings over the weekend in terms of growth. So this weekend, we had head-to-head the television partnership with Fox and the television partnership with ESPN ABC. So head-to-head, Big Noon on Fox, Minnesota and Michigan did 3.5 million viewers. The opposite channel, this was ESPN, not network, was Kentucky Ole Miss. You can't get much more regional than Kentucky and Ole Miss. It beat Michigan, Minnesota. It did 4 million viewers is how many people watched it. In the 3:30 window, the Fox partnership gets you to the Big 12, so that gets you Colorado and UCF. That did 4 million, just over 4 million viewers. Conversely, at 3:30 on ESPN ABC, Oklahoma at Auburn did 5. Now, in primetime, I could not find the NBC numbers anywhere on Illinois and Penn State. But NBC did the damnedest thing, and they put Illinois and Penn State competing with Ohio State and Michigan State. So my guess is they are trying to package those numbers into like a combined primetime viewership. I don't know that even combined it will top what Bama and Georgia did, which was an average of 12, which grows all the way to 14.1 with streaming, and we talk about peak. So you're starting to see in the sport, and this has happened for a while now, to get back to the original point of folks saying, I wish this was back the way that it used to be. The cat's out of the bag, man. A once regional sport is now national big business. And it's for all the people who say, I don't really want to watch college football anymore, quite honestly, you're lying. And if you're not watching, more people are. So that gets us to the conversation this week that is happening down about the meetings that are forthcoming between the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten. Because these two entities are going to control the future of this sport in the biggest possible way. So how do you do that? Is it a scheduling partnership? I think that's going to be certainly a component. Do we say, we will play you, you will play us in September, and then you'll play your conference games from there on out? Potentially. That's something that could happen. It goes back to, I think, the SEC's bigger overall play, and I think the Big Ten is going to want to sign up for this as well, where they're going to say our 9-3 is better than your 11-1, and it's about getting bigger control of the college football playoff. We did the exercise last week, if you were listening, about the 12 best teams, and this actually came from a buddy text who said, wait a second, you're telling me the 12 best teams in the country aren't going to make the playoff? And I said, that's exactly what I'm telling you, that they're not. That there's going to be cannibalism in the Big 12, that the Group of 5 team is going to get in. One of them has to get in. And that the conference champions in the ACC and the Big 12 are getting buys. Like, that's happening. A lot of people don't realize that on a day-to-day basis with this sport. But the reality is that if the television partners had their way, it would be the 12 best teams. They want to play the hits. They want Big State U from the South against Big State U from the North. That's what they want. That's the objective. So over the next couple of weeks, and this is just the start of those meetings, Tony Petitti of the Big Ten and Greg Sankey of the Southeastern Conference are going to start to decide the future of the sport as they see it. And we're all going to watch whatever the conclusion of that is. Meanwhile, we have this thing called College Student Football League. And they've got their own plans.
I hope.
Can we workshop that, Reese? Not sure about the College Student Football League. I don't know about the name, brother.
I mean, the S sits there. They'd be like, College Stupid Football League, more like it. Like, that's what it sets up for.
Right.
Just real quick, Penn State drew 3.09 million viewers, which was the 7th most viewed game of the weekend. It's 3.25 for Virginia Tech Miami on a Friday night. Outdrew Penn State Illinois at top 25 matchup.
That's really disappointing. That's really disappointing. So then they got, in prime time, they got bombed. Now, you could have put Buckeyes and Sparty. It would have drew different, but they're trying to drive you to Peacock. Is what they're doing. They're trying to drive you to subscribe to Peacock and deal with all of that. So you're also being weaponized by the sport at the moment.
The people are being leveraged.
They are already holding you hostage with the apps and the rest of it. To this point, I haven't seen like an SEC game exclusively on Paramount Plus, but I'm guessing it'll happen.
I mean, maybe like Vanderbilt, Auburn, because I think they know. Like I think they've only got one, master to suffice. Like they've only got the Mickey Mouse to appease there. Right. So I feel like that would be different than what Peacock's trying to do. But yeah, I just can't imagine a world where you're putting Alabama on CBS or the Paramount thing.
Yeah, you know what? Probably 90% of the people listening right now couldn't imagine a world where Buckeye basketball games would be primarily on Peacock and Buckeye football games would be played on Peacock against Michigan State.
I remember 2 years ago I had Tyvis screaming at me that it'll never happen. I was like, well, be careful, sir. Those $80 million checks come with a price.
That's what the money's for.
And so this formal proposal from the College Student Football League was thrown out there on Tuesday. I saw it from Stuart Mandel, but it details a football-only reorganization of all 136 FBS schools into two distinct conferences. The top 72 programs, mostly what is the current Power 5, and I know it's only Power 4, but they're adding Power 5 into this again, would compete in the Power 12 conference, made up of a dozen 6-team geography-based divisions. So you've got what would be your Power 5, but this will go geographically, so you won't have Rutgers and USC in the same conference.
Oh, that would be smart.
The remaining 64 programs, most notably the Group of 5, would compete in the Group of 8 conference. So the Power 12 season and postseason would run 21 weeks from late August through early January, and that would include buys. What excites me as a fan of a team in a Group of 5 is it would give them their own distinct their own distinct playoff and their own distinct championship to play for. So you're separating the big boys from the lesser schools in terms of money. Yep. And this proposal would also include relegation.
I mean, folks, you see where we are? Like, everyone acknowledges that something's not right here, but we are too little and too damn late. And I'm gonna tell you why coming up next. A lot of baseball yesterday as well that we want to get to. You're going to hear from Ryan Day. It is a First Friday. Get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas. We're off and running on a First Friday Miracle Edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Breaking news on this one. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Anthony here for the Good Feet store. If you're like me, you've endured foot pain way too long. You've tried to mask it with thicker socks. I bought over-the-counter insoles. In a nutshell, all failed remedies for me. It was awful. I wanted to exercise, but I knew how bad it would hurt, and that tired me out. I had plantar fasciitis, that sharp pain in the heel. So I was introduced to the Good Feet store pain relief solution. Relief nearly instantaneously. My feet now feel supported, and my body is aligned again, thanks to my personally fit arch supports. And the beauty is, if you like how they feel, you can wear them home that very day. The fitting and test walk is free, so you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA. Sore feet spoil life. Come to the Good Feet store today. Locations on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City. You can learn so much more at goodfeet.com. Try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
Get your air conditioner fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
Gambling too much? I'm Abdullah Mahmood, problem gambling counselor at Mary Haven, where we offer in-person, virtual, and group options. We're here for you no matter what, and that's a bet you can actually count on this football season. Go to maryhaven.com today.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand, listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Toyota began a revolution over 20 years ago with this iconic name, the Prius. A revolution that proved there's more than one way to reduce your carbon footprint. Toyota believes the power of choice should be yours because it's not just battery EVs, fuel cells, and plug-ins. Toyota has more hybrid EVs than anyone else, including the best-selling Camry, RAV4, and the all-new Tacoma. Toyota is electrified, diversified, and the choice is yours. Toyota, let's go places.
Hi, this is Tracy from Custom Air. With school back in session, now is the perfect time to schedule your HVAC maintenance. Keep your system running smoothly with a Custom Air maintenance plan. It's one less worry this school year. Visit CustomAirCo.com. Custom solutions, custom comfort, Custom Air.
APCO, windows, siding, and decks. Business First says we're the largest remodeler in town. Our philosophy is simple. We don't rely on sales gimmicks to get our customers. We rely on our reputation.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state.
ONN affiliate WBNS TV reports.
Haley Kirby reporting in downtown Toledo.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
ONN Canton.
ONN affiliate WKYC TV in Cleveland explains.
In Marietta, Brett Wharf, ONN News.
Emma Henderson in Genoa.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at ONNradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network.
Have you lost Ohio Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Heading out the door today, a light sweater or jacket probably necessary. It is chilly out there, but we are in the start of October. 72 for the high today. The sun comes out this afternoon. Tomorrow, beautiful blue skies with a high of 77. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And hey there, my good friends. It's your Uncle Bo here. If you're like me and millions of other men out there and you find yourself feeling sluggish, tired, a little bit off, energy maybe not what it used to be, maybe you're not sleeping great. I know I certainly wasn't. If any of those symptoms apply to you, it's possible, even likely, that you're suffering from low testosterone. And there is help on the way. And it's easy and it's convenient. And they're my great friends at Tri-State Men's Health. For me, it was chasing the boys in the sports. They do this thing, and I always had this rule that once we had the boys, that like, as long as they wanted me to coach them or as long as they wanted me to play sports with them, when they asked, I would say yes. So 90% of the time, it's a yes answer to that. Those yes answers got easier and have been easier since I've been on Tri-State Men's Health's testosterone therapy. Been on it for months now. It's awesome. You can find relief and help as well. Take the low T quiz on the website. If the symptoms apply to you, schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health. They'll do your lab work, have your results in about 30 minutes. I went through it. It was so discreet, so quick, so happy. You're going to meet with a licensed medical provider, review your results with you, and discuss your options. And then you're going to make the decision together with the medical team. And the cost of the appointment is $99. That includes a consult, the TNPSA test, and it's a win-win for you. Give them a call today, 800-900-9654. Visit TriStateMen'sHealth.com. 2 convenient locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard and near Medical Mile in Westerville as well. All right, Reese, you had a... By the way, how is... And I know the man. How Jimmy Haslam's involved in this?
Yes.
So he's pretty busy. And now he's doing this too?
Yeah, and the first thing... So I saw this yesterday from Stuart Mandel, and I think this was the first time I saw Jimmy Haslam's name attached to it.
Yeah.
And of course I thought to myself, well, how's he profiting off of this? Because he's not doing business or he's not doing anything without some sort of win for him. And I guess, you know, when he, as a booster at Tennessee, the return on the investment is Tennessee's really good. So that $8 million they reportedly paid for Nico Iamaleava, probably a pretty good investment so far,
so good
on that return. So yeah, Jimmy Haslam's
quoted here,
a member on this, and he in that statement that when they released their grand plan. Historically, the beauty of college football has been how many schools around the country were competing for the championship. We need to bring college football back to the broad national model of its golden years in a system which fosters more competitive balance. End quote.
All right. You went through it, and so they had like 70-some teams in an A division, essentially, just in layman's terms, in an A division, and then everybody else was in a B division, which, by the way, I think there's some really cool components to that. I've long said that, for example, schools in the MAC, because they're the ones who are most affected by this and they're the most locally affected by this, it's absurd that Ohio is trying to win the same championship as Ohio State. They should not be competing for the same thing. And I think when you get away from that, when you can chase a championship, there is true enthusiasm on campus. There is. There's enthusiasm with alumni. There's full houses. Those type of things start to happen when you can compete with something. I've seen it firsthand at the 1AA level with Montana and Montana State, and what those environments have become when those two programs have been two of the best at the 1AA level over the last decade or so. So I think the same thing could be duplicated with a subdivision, an A and a B, if you will, in Division I football. Now, so there's some good to that. Here's the thing with even this quote here from Mr. Haslam. The beauty of college football has been how many schools around the country are competing for championships. We need to bring college football back to the broad national model of its golden years and a system which fosters more competitive balance. Mr. Haslam, with all due respect, these are the golden years of college football. This is it. It's never been more popular. It's never been bigger. It's never been the behemoth that it's been now. And the biggest issue with this plan is the two institutions that are running this sport at the moment, the SEC and the Big Ten. Why would we share? Why would we share money? Use the Pilot Flying J model for a moment. It'd be like saying the mom and pop truck stops are better. That's better than mom and pop truck stops around the country. Yeah, but it's better business if you run Pilot, which they don't own anymore. They sold to Berkshire Hathaway. But if you have Pilot Flying J and you have Love's, and you have two monster brands, it's better for those two companies if they have all the truck stops. So the SEC and the Big Ten are Love's and Pilot Flying J. They have all the truck stops. So why would they give truck stops back to mom and pops and give the money back? Why would you do that? Why would Ohio State say, you know what, we really like making $90 million a year from our television package. We're really thrilled now, just out of the goodness of the heart, we're going to go down to 50. Because we want to prop up TCU. Why? Why would they do that? So, to me, this, what is this thing? CT, what is it?
So, College Sports Tomorrow is the advisory group that created or that released their proposal for a college student football league. And I misspoke in the last segment. There's just promotion. There's no relegation. A group of the top teams from the group of 8 would be eligible for promotion. And this screams to exactly your point of the Big Ten and the SEC in terms of a football would have to go away. They'd have to be Thanos snapped out of existence. And I don't see that happening anytime soon, at least until 2030, 2031, when the current network deals are up. I mean, you can tear those up at any time. But for the Big Ten and the SEC, why would they want to do that?
No, if anything, if you were the Big Ten and the SEC and there were other brands, and it speaks more honestly to the Big Ten, there are available brands out there that are better than the ones you have. Hell, Colorado did a 4. Deion Sanders is worth his weight in gold. He is worth his weight in gold as a promoter. That is Colorado UCF. That doesn't do 100,000 2 years ago. It did 4 million. He's worth his weight in gold. That's a driver of audience, my friends. That's real. And so there are brands in this league who you'd like to relegate, quite honestly, and bring in Miami, Florida State. And honestly, I think some of this does make sense. It would make sense if you could find a way to have two entities, two super conferences that regionally make sense and have those two conferences share all the money. Okay, fine. But to do it just voluntarily, there's just no scenario. This isn't serious.
Also, Ohio State fans, if they look at this, will instantly hate it because in the Midwest division, there is Ohio State. There is no Michigan.
Okay.
It's Ohio State, Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa State, Iowa, Wisconsin.
That'd get you jacked.
The Great Lakes division has Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Michigan State, Northwestern, and Purdue.
This honestly feels like some kid on a podcast just making stuff up. Truly.
Does Jimmy Haslam have a podcast yet?
I don't know how. My guess is Mr. Haslam wasn't involved in the day-to-day of this. He's pretty busy. So I can't imagine like he was meeting and worrying about Marriott points like all the rest of these people are. I don't sense that. So
he probably owns a Marriott or franchises.
There's just no scenario where this is ever going to happen or ever going to go anywhere because the people who control it are already happy with the process.
All right. So CST's co-founder is Len Perna, who runs Turnkey ZRG. So whenever a college says, hey, we need a coach, they hire these consultant firms.
Oh, those guys.
So maybe that's who Florida hired when they landed on Billy Napier.
Yeah.
I don't know which firm they hired, but like if that's this one, don't listen to them, please.
To sum up, the business that's going to be done with this stuff yesterday, this release yesterday, and then the other stuff that's happening between the Big Ten and the SEC, pay attention to the latter. That's the one that's going to decide the future of the sport. The meeting between the Big Ten and the ACC. Petitti and Sankey, their television partners, that's going to control where this sport goes. Reese, you got a minute on baseball.
The AL Central is the best division in the sport. I don't know if you saw yesterday with the Tigers and the Royals now one game away from advancing to the ALDS. So if Detroit held on and beat Houston in Houston 3-1 yesterday. Yep. And if you'd have told Eric, who do you not want to see in the next round? I mean, they're all good at this point. Like I even think, yes, it's gonna be very difficult for me to say and very wonderful for our boss who came in with the giant Tigers hat on. Detroit Tigers are a hell of a baseball team, and I hate that I have to say that. So are the Royals.
Yeah.
But the fact that now, if both teams win today, so Detroit's got Houston at 2:30 on ABC, you're giving me mid-Wednesday baseball, midday Tuesday baseball? Heaven.
Yeah. I just think it's awesome that teams like Detroit and Kansas City are in the mix. That Baltimore's playing in this thing, that Milwaukee's in there, that San Diego, who's never won anything, is in the mix. I think those things are wonderful. They're wonderful for great baseball towns. Detroit is a great baseball town. So I think all of those things are pretty damn cool. And I will say when I got done with my 4-hour marathon of youth basketball evaluations yesterday, that when I got home, the baseball was on. They were watching Atlanta and San Diego.
Padres, Braves.
Yep.
That's pretty damn good. And
it was good.
You get that exact same thing today. And then if, what would it be? Teams that are trailing currently 1-0, if they can force a game 3, that'll be on Thursday. You get Friday night Big Ten football. And then it's the DS starting on Saturday. Oh, yeah, also Ohio State, Iowa.
So, yeah, like the way it looks like Guardians go in like at around noon, around 1, and then Buckeyes are 3:30. So that'll be pretty interesting to say the least. All right, Ryan Day had his availability yesterday. We'll get his thoughts on Iowa, what he has seen from we talked about this yesterday. I'm interested to see what he has to say about Julian Sayin on the 4th and 1 where he went deep. We brought light to that yesterday. We'll get into all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
There's always time for the drive-thru deal. Because no matter how fast you are at making breakfast, McDonald's is faster.
Wake up to McDonald's breakfast and mix and match a classic sausage McMuffin, delicious sausage burrito, or crispy hash browns. Get any two for just $3. Order ahead in the app and pick up curbside. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Ready for a new ride? Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
All right. Protect yourself, Ohio. Get your shots for COVID and flu today. A message from the Ohio Departments of Health and Aging.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
If you have an unhealthy obsession with the Blue Jackets, we have just the remedy. Join us Wednesday nights at 7 for the Inside Edge. All the Jackets and hockey conversation you can handle. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Dormar, your climate hero.
Dort, what's that guy yelling about in my noisemaker?
Dormar, your climate hero.
Your climate hero, you fossil?
What's a climate hero?
That's Dormar, our same-day heating and AC company we've used for 60 years.
Who?
Dormar, your climate hero.
Come on, Dad, you laugh every time you hear their Tidy Whitey commercials.
Yep, those are funnier.
Dormar, your climate hero.
Attention, small business or sole proprietors. Do you want to save money on health care for your business? Be able to cover your employees with the best dental, doctors, and hospitals? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter for the SACA Benefit Plan. Nearly 100,000 members strong in the state of Ohio. The SACA Benefit Plan is administered by Anthem and could be right for you. Small businesses, visit 844-medohio.com. That's medohio.com. The SACA Benefit Plan could be right for you. Visit 844-medohio.com.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at byersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
This college football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
College football teams have moments they recovered from and made it like it never even happened. For instance, TCU walked into the locker room at halftime in the 2016 Alamo Bowl, down 31-0. The Horned Frogs stormed into the second half and erased a 31-point deficit to force overtime, and eventually won it in the third overtime, 47-41.
ServPro, like it never even happened.
Before you buy generic Viagra, try this hack to get 9 tablets for just $7. Prescription and shipping are free. All you need to do is go to FridayPlansRx.com and answer a few medical questions. A doctor reviews your answers and prescribes you online for free, if appropriate, 9 tablets of generic Viagra for just $7. Go to FridayPlansRx.com. Yes, that's right, 9 tablets for $7. FridayPlansRx.com. Restrictions apply. Paid for by FridayPlansRx.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. We were talking earlier here in the first hour about some of the ratings wars that are happening week to week between the television partners and the conferences. The Big Ten is going to go head-to-head with the SEC the next couple of weeks with the biggest guns they've got. So you've got in 3:30 window on CBS Channel 10 here locally, you're going to have Ohio State, Iowa this week. And we teased that we hinted at this. Pay attention to the scores. Official now, though, that Ohio State, Oregon would be 7:30 on NBC in 2 weeks. So those are going to be that weekend. The 12th is going to be a fascinating weekend to see where the audiences go on that. My hunch is NBC will do quite well with the Buckeyes and Oregon, but Texas's Oklahoma is that weekend as well. So there is a lot going on in terms of where your attention will be on that weekend. I want to say, is Michigan USC that weekend too? I think it might be. I think that slate is absolutely crazy for that weekend. I'm going to pull it up really quickly here. Just bear with me for a second. But that's the week 7.
Penn State USC.
Penn State, USC. All right, so the full slate, so that'll be a 7:30 Ohio State, Oregon, and then the 3:30 will be Penn State, USC. The SEC is going to counter with moving the Texas-Oklahoma game to 3:30. That's traditionally a noon. They moved that to 3:30 on ABC and ESPN, so that game will be in the mix. And then at night, they're going to, at night at 7:30, they got Ole Miss and LSU, so that'll go head-to-head on that side of things. And then ESPN is going to use their Big 12, and they go with what is quite honestly a pretty wild thing. They're going to go fourth window with Kansas State and Colorado at 10:15 on the kick on that. So that'll go head-to-head with the fourth quarter of Ohio State and Oregon. So the battles are being fought every single Saturday when it comes to who's watching which conference, and the reality is a lot of you are watching a lot of it. The Buckeyes are going to be obviously a huge chess piece in all of that. This weekend's game with Iowa, part of it. Ryan Day, available yesterday, had these thoughts on Iowa initially.
This is a very good team. They play physical. You guys know who they are. They have not changed their identity in a long time, and they have very, very good coaches and physical players, a veteran team. We're going to get challenged in a lot of areas, and this is challenging our whole building. They're going to be coming hard. They're physical. They're well coached. They're fundamental, and they have an identity. So it's going to start here on the practice field. We've got to have a great practice today.
Certainly that will be part of it. Ohio State will have the more talented roster. They know that, but they also can't just roll out a ball and hope for the best. This will take the best execution. My hope for this one is that we have a ball game into the fourth. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see a fourth quarter possession with a little bit of pressure on it. I'd like to see a possession that has a little bit of pressure before you go out to Eugene next week. Certainly think Ohio State is going to be a 2-score at least victor in the game on Saturday, but at the same time, I'd like to see them stressed a little bit before you head out to Oregon, in which I do think you'll be stressed quite a bit. Our fourth quarters have mostly been relegated to mop-up duty and such, and Reese and I have the conversation every Friday about, okay, who are we going to see? You've wanted to see number 10 for a while. We wanted to see the bomb. For years, we wanted to see the full complement of the offense. Well, you got to see the bomb, your boy Julian Sayin, who you've been calling for. This play call, I think, was designed just for you. This audible.
I could hear them be going, this one's for you, Reeser. I'm like, oh,
here you go, Reese. Here you go.
Not sure why I need to do it on 4th and 1, but what the hell?
My hunch is saying, well, we'll hear from Ryan Day. Let's hear what Ryan had to say on Julian throwing it on 4th and 1 at Spartyland.
If he's going to throw it there, he better complete it. I can tell you that. But those are the type of things that you can't replicate, even though it's late in the game and the score is what it is. Like, we got to learn. We got to push through those things. You got to put that back of your head and learn from those things. So we were excited to get him that rep and learn from that rep, which I know he will.
Yeah, that's my favorite part, kind of funny part of, like, Julian Sayin's future here is as bright as possible. And he's, I think, very likely going to be the future quarterback here as soon as next season. But the 4th and 1 play, and my hunch is he went to the line with 2 plays and a couple of options, and he chose to go deep. And Ryan looks at him as he's walking off incredulously. It's 4th and 1. We need a yard. That's it, brother.
I really hoped he looked at Coach and be like, hell yeah, it is. And I went for it.
He certainly did. So that was kind of the wonderful thing when it came to the game, because you do get those teachable moments. And that when we talked about the last few years about running the full complement of the offense, that's what we're referring to, those life lessons that can be learned late in a blowout for the younger players. Last year, at times, it felt like when we did go off of Kyle McCord, that whoever went in, oftentimes it was Devin. It was kind of not much to it. And it was an even bigger issue when CJ was here. Because when Kyle got in, he basically just handed off and just salted away the game. And so he didn't get to run the full complement of the offense. The man who does run the full complement of the offense is Will Howard. I think he's gotten better and better each week. Pretty bad pick in the game against Michigan State. We are always wondering on the question of, can we throw it when the other team knows we're going to throw it? I think you'll be okay with that. We just haven't had to yet. One of the criticisms of Will was perhaps that he locked in on receivers too much. Coach Day was asked about that yesterday at his availability.
I haven't recognized that just as something that continues to show up. But I think certainly on the interception, he could have moved on. There's no question about that. That's trust in your drop, trust in your eyes, and making sure your eyes are in the right spot. There's times where he's found himself back on 3 and 4, and it may not seem like it because his eyes quickly went back to 3-4. There's a lot that goes with it, but the short answer is, when we're talking about moving through progressions, it really comes down to your eyes and where you're looking.
I I have very few concerns about Will operating this offense the way that it needs to be operated to win a national championship. That being said, I cannot wait to see him play against Iowa this weekend. A stiffer test defensively. A defense that historically has been one of the more stingy in the country, and a coach who will throw a lot of exotic stuff at him and keep him on his toes consistently. They will be assignment sound. They will be where they're supposed to be. Yeah, they'll get beat athlete for athlete. That's going to happen. They don't recruit the same type of players, but they'll be developed. They'll be coached professionally. They'll be in the right spot, and that's something I can't wait to see. Conversely, I can't wait to see him on the road at Oregon. That will be the one.
Some pressure early on.
Yeah.
Like from Iowa, it's going to take, I think what we thought bringing Will Howard in would elevate Ohio State's offense and provided a running threat. And we've seen it over a couple of weeks, and he'll certainly be able to do that. But when there's an opportunity for him to step up into the pocket or to make moves in the pocket, if he steps up or he moves out or he rolls out in a situation where you're not necessarily supposed to, but it's like, hey, we need you to make that play. And to find a guy, either in the middle of the field or even deep in the field, like that's what I really liked. And I like a lot of things about Quinn Ewers, but when he was able to do that against Michigan, I was like, man, if Will can be that, you're going to make a lot of teams look stupid. And I think for, the first couple of opponents, the first couple of weeks, you haven't had to do that. You haven't needed to do that. But in these situations against Iowa and certainly next week against Oregon, that'll be the ask, is make something when there's not a lot there.
I think the apple for apple, to me, a month into the season for Will is the guy he's going to see in 2 weeks. I think him and Dylan Gabriel are kind of doing the same job. I think the job that Quinn is doing and then Arch, when he comes in, is a little different because of their offensive explosiveness all over the entire field. He's not the same players as Milroe in terms of an ability to be heavier on your feet all the time. Cam Ward, everything's built around him at Miami. He's the whole engine of the whole operation. And Carson Beck, too. I mean, he's throwing bombs over Baghdad in the game against Alabama. So I think Will and Gabriel kind of are playing a similar style. And I think it's appropriate that you're going to see him play in 2 weeks on a Saturday night and see which one kind of operates it better. And that's going to be a fascinating watch. The bat signal has gone up in Cleveland. We'll give you the details on that. All the while, we could have a trade deadline with some actual teeth to it at the National Football League. We'll get into the details on that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Question for you. Would you rather pay $150 a month or $15 a month to work out with the same high-quality gym equipment? At Planet Fitness, you can get top-tier equipment for $15 a month. Plus, save $28 or more when you join now during our Strong Choice sale. Our weights weigh the same, you just don't pay the same. Enjoy free fitness training and 24-hour access at most clubs, all in the judgment-free zone. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. See club for details.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers, the people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Don't sweat it. Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your air conditioner fast. 1-800-COOLING.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons. And you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville and Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Did you know we have another station? More Buckeyes, more play-by-play, more everything.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2 or listen on the Fan app.
Your home for almost too much football. The Fan.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited truck month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Hey guys, it's Anthony Rothman. If you're feeling at a loss for energy or just not upbeat like you used to be, it could be low testosterone. That's right, it affects our moods. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. But guys have different T levels, so don't go for a standard dosage plan. Look for TRT with an optimized personal treatment plan, like you'll get with the experts at Low T Center. Do it now. Go to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Emily Neal's 70-inch TV. Because after watching her second-grade students yell at each other for hours, there's nothing Emily enjoys more than watching super rich housewives also yell at each other. Why? Because those women are not her responsibility. And that's why her TV is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Hey football fans, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-ON. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get your questions into the fellas at 971-BFS or if in the YouTube chat. We will take them there as well, and we will answer those coming up at 11 o'clock. Saw this news this week at the National Football League. You know, historically, the NFL trade deadline has been not much to it, but in recent years, it's gotten a little bit better, and I do think there's a chance that it could be amped up quite a bit by the time we get to this one. It's not. Do you know when the trade deadline is, by chance?
November 5th. That'll be a Tuesday. That's a Tuesday after Week 9.
And?
Tuesday, November 5th. I don't know.
Election Day.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard. We have an election.
Pretty busy.
Yeah.
I try not to think about that as much as possible.
That's right. So they're happening the same day. So that's where that is.
Can one of them be moved, please? Just one.
So I think there's a chance that this one could have a lot to it. And I think potentially a local team that we pay attention to and talk about quite a bit could be involved in it. But let's start with Davante Adams. So Davante Adams is headed for a gold jacket, quite honestly. His run in Green Bay is kind of the stuff of legend. When you go back, starting in 18, which is his fifth year in the league, 111 for 1386, 83 for 997 in just 12 games, 115 for 1374, 123 for 1553. After the 2021 season, goes to Vegas, and it's good. He goes there to play with Derek Carr, who was his college quarterback, and kumbaya, we're going to play for the Raiders, and you and I are going to be on the West Coast, and it's everything we've ever wanted. And he goes 100 catches for 15, 16, and 14 touchdowns as a first-team All-Pro. And then last year, 103 and 1144. But what happened? Derek Carr was no longer the quarterback of the Vegas Raiders, and now this week he demands a trade. Now, the thing that's crazy about this is, I don't know if you saw this yesterday, he basically faked a hamstring injury to not play against the Browns on Sunday, and to demand a trade and ask for a trade. Antonio Pierce then liked his Instagram post of this, for God's sakes.
Hell yeah.
This is, what are we doing, man? Just put your phones away. So Adams wants to be traded. There are places that make a lot of sense for them. Obviously, the New York Jets makes a lot of sense, and they've handed the keys to the operation to Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh Steelers make a lot of sense.
No
one around here wants to hear that, who's a Bengal or Browns fan. But I'd like it for Justin. So all of a sudden, if you had him and Pickens at receiver, that's a bit of a problem. Certainly, does the Washington Commanders make sense? Do the Dallas Cowboys make sense? You get the idea. There's a lot of places that make sense for Davante Adams. One of the places that might make the most sense is Kansas City. I see no scenario where Vegas would trade him in the division, though. I don't think you would want to enable Kansas City any more than they already are. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, it does in situations like this. How much sway would Antonio Pierce have over where Davante goes?
Not much. I wouldn't think.
Just because he likes the post. Davante goes on Kay Adams' show and says he hasn't talked to Pierce.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce to me feels very much like some former players who maybe don't quite understand the nuance of being a head coach. Freddie Kitchens had a little bit of this to him. Mike Singletary years ago had a little bit of this to him. A great player doesn't necessarily make a great coach. And when you're calling out business decisions and all of these things in the media and trying to act tough, that works if you're Dan Campbell and you win and you hold everybody to the same standard and you're accountable. It does not work if you don't. And it falls pretty quickly on deaf ears. And that's my hunch of what's happening in Vegas with the Raiders. So I would think, now I don't even know, who the hell's the general manager there now? They got the guy from New England.
Tom Telesco.
Tom Telesco?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the GM of the Chargers back in 2023.
Okay. So he wouldn't have any sort of ties to Pierce. So they have to do the best deal. They've talked about a second rounder for Adams. I could see that for a team that is in a very desperate win now situation. Give me a guy right now. I'll take Adams for the next 2 years. That makes sense. Another guy that I think could very well become available is Amari Cooper. He had a great game against the Giants, but it has not gone well all season. He doesn't appear to be happy, but it's hard to know with Amari because he's pretty stone-faced. But it just hasn't worked out. He's not going to be there next year. Everybody kind of knows that. So if they don't beat Washington on Sunday, which the odds are that they likely won't, I think it's Philly after that. If this thing starts to spiral, do they punt and try to get something on the return on investment of Amari? He's not going to net yet, too. I'll tell you that. But he would be somebody who would be out there in the mix as well to a contender. I mean, I think of Kansas City, and that seems kind of like a no-brainer to put him in a spot like that. So I think you could see that. The other team I think that could be very active, depending on how this week goes for them, is Miami. Miami is in a world of hurt right now. Now, the question becomes, would they also be a team who could off-road to a tank? And all of a sudden, you're in a situation that the Colts were in with Andrew Luck, where all of a sudden you're kind of bad by accident, and then you end up picking in the top 5, and then you can get a big-time player. Or you can then trade that pick to someone in desperate need of a quarterback because you still feel comfortable with Tua Tagovailoa. But what they did at quarterback is borderline malpractice. To go into this season with that talent and not have somebody viable behind Tua is a failure at the highest level.
If you've seen any parts of Mike McDonald's, like that press conference he had after their Monday night game, like he couldn't finish sentences. Like he's having the least amount of fun as anybody in the NFL this season. And you talk about with Antonio Pierce and like the football guyness being good. Only if you're winning. When you're not winning, it's like, buddy, like that ain't it. Like same thing with him, because then it feels very much like, well, what are you doing, football? What are you doing, analytics guy? Like, why can't you fix this? But it, I think, stems. You're talking about off-road Tua tank. They have nobody behind him that's even. I mean, Tyler Huntley's going to start again this week for the Dolphins.
He was
incompetent. And I don't know how much you could put on him because it feels like they didn't give him any reps even before Tua got injured, any real reps with their ones because he was with the Browns. So the idea that you're going in week 5 with this guy who didn't spend camp with you is asinine.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're looking for a bit of good news from a AFC North Browns fan perspective, Nick Chubb is going to practice today in Cleveland.
Please don't hurt him. Who's going to block for him?
I don't know who's going to block. We can deal with that later. He's not playing this week, so don't. And they made a move at running back off their practice squad, who they cut. He's not going to play this week. My hunch is probably next, not next either. But he does have to play in one of the next 3. Otherwise, he has to be shut down for the year. So by him
what
practicing,
does play mean? Like a play?
He's got to be active.
Okay.
Got to be on the active. So that has to happen in the next 3 weeks. Otherwise, they have to shut him down for the year. So everything I've been hearing on Nick is that he is, of course, because he's Thanos, he is well ahead of schedule. He looks spectacular. I just think, my God, how can that be so? But with Nick Chubb, you never want to doubt it. But he will be at practice today for the Cleveland Browns, which will be a big, big moment for everybody up there and a big boost to a team that, quite honestly, desperately needs it.
Did the well-coiffed update anchor have it right with Michael Hall, who was suspended 5 games yesterday?
Well,
but it's like time served with that 4-game suspension?
I'll give you the details on that coming up next because there's a little bit of nonsense to that. So we'll get to that. We'll also play a little higher or lower. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who've walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Jeremy Foltz, CEO and co-founder of 3C Technology Solutions, speaks about working with First Bank of Central Ohio.
I think FBCO had a really nice personal touch. Transition was really easy and much cleaner than I thought it would be. Some very specific things that made me very excited to work with them are availability and creativity.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC. An equal housing lender.
The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. Looking to upgrade? The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers and want you to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Do your good-looking shoes hurt and you don't want to wear ugly shoes? At the Good Feet store, we can help you wear your heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
Gambling too much? I'm Abdullah Mahmood, problem gambling counselor at Mary Haven, where we offer in-person, virtual, and group options. We're here for you no matter what, and that's a bet you can actually count on this football season. Go to maryhaven.com today.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Check it out, the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence. At Verizon, you can get it when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands.
Any?
Any.
Even if it's 4 years old?
Yeah.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk?
Yep.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk, then a scooter runs it over, so now it's not just old and cracked, but shattered?
With Verizon, the answer is always yes. New and existing customers can trade in any phone from one of our top brands in any condition for the new iPhone 16 Pro with Unlimited Ultimate. Trade-in terms apply. See Verizon.com for details. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets open the regular season 1 week from tomorrow night. They'll skate in Minnesota versus the Wild. CBJ improved to 4-2 in the preseason with a 3-1 win over the Blues last night at Nationwide. They're, again, 4-2 in the preseason. They're going to host the Penguins tomorrow night at 7 before wrapping up preseason play Friday night at Pittsburgh. In the NFL, Browns running back Nick Chubb's expected to practice today for the first time all season. Chubb is still recovering from knee surgery after an injury suffered in Week 1 of last season. He's not expected to play Sunday against Washington, but could be back on the field next Sunday against Philadelphia. Week 5 in the NFL begins tomorrow night in Atlanta with the Falcons hosting the Buccaneers. In baseball today, the wild card round continues at 2:30. The Astros host the Tigers in Game 2 of the AL wild card. If Detroit wins, they'll advance to the ALDS to play the Guardians in Cleveland on Saturday. This update is sponsored by Whiskey War by High Bank Distillery. Drink local, drink High Bank.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed, it is. Second hour of the program here on a First Friday Miracle Edition. Still time to get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas at 971BFS on the X Twitter platform, also in the YouTube chat. We'll take note of those and get to those coming up in an hour from now. You're asking the question about Mike Hall before we get to higher or lower, Reese. So that was under the NFL's personal conduct code. The thing that is bothersome to me about that is to set aside whatever you think about what Mike allegedly did. There were no charges filed and all of that. There was no communication between the NFL and the organization or the player. He just was basically suspended for all of camp and all of the season until they decided, okay, yeah, it's a 5-game suspension. That's basically how it went. I mean, it was just Goodell doing whatever he wanted. So there was no knowledge of when he was. It's funny. I was just talking about this yesterday in the afternoon, and there was no knowledge of when he would be out or not. He just was kind of floating, inactive.
At that point, wouldn't the PA step in and
PA
force?
is so feckless.
Okay.
They're just feckless. There's nothing there. So that's why it's such a tough spot. But yeah, now they're saying, okay, it was a 5-game suspension, 4 games time served, and 1 more. Now they can say that, but essentially there was no dialogue. He just was put on the shelf while they were going through all of this. All right, time for a little higher, lower. Hit it.
Bishop and Friends present Higher or Lower.
Sponsored by The Waterworks. The Waterworks, your undefeated team of plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling. Call 614-232-2222 today.
My man Cole is here. Cole, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you as well. Also, November 5th, Election Day, NFL trade deadline, and the first day of the college football playoff ranking. So a whole lot going on.
Okay, no,
there.
one of those needs to change. Federal government, you're moving Election Day. Be Monday
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
All 3.
Oh, my God. Move the college football playoff. Move them up a week. What are we doing?
So we get a more realistic ranking. But for now, we'll put up with the Associated Press and what they got going on. So let's roll through the top 5 here real quick. Number 1, Alabama, followed by Texas, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Georgia. So we got 4 SEC, 1 Big Ten there. Let's start out with Texas, okay? They had a big win, looked really, really impressive in Ann Arbor. I don't think Michigan's as good as Georgia, so Alabama has the better win. So Texas at 2, higher or lower?
I think Texas at 2 is the sweet spot. I like what the Associated Press did this week by rewarding the win against Georgia for Alabama. The idea that game, that they trailed in that game with a little over 2 minutes to play is almost impossible to wrap your head around if you actually watch the game. That they were up the way that they were and gave it all up. And then a 17-year-old kid makes one of the greatest plays you'll ever see, and they somehow win and save the day for Kalen DeBoer and all of it. I do think Alabama has some flaws. I also think the marriage of DeBoer's offense with Nick Saban's recruits is a beautiful marriage, and one that is going to profit for quite a while because they're killing it in recruiting as well. So I think they got 1-2 right on this thing. I think Texas is the appropriate number 2. Absolutely no drop-off with Arch from Quinn at all. Now they have a week off before they play the Red River Shootout. So I think these are the appropriate 1 and 2, Reese.
Yeah, this is the right way to do it. Texas, I do wonder if Quinn's in and makes it a little sexier in terms of the margin of victory for the Longhorns in the past 2 weeks. if they're receiving a little bit more than 19 first-place votes. But, Alabama gets the 40 because of everybody watched that game Thursday or Saturday night, and everybody saw what Alabama was able to do early and then hold on for dear life to a team that people still respect in Georgia. So, no, they got it absolutely right here.
Well, let's stick in the top 5 because Tennessee's an interesting one, too, at number 4 because they had a couple ranked wins. North Carolina State, after they lost to Tennessee, they went and got blitzed by Clemson, so I don't think people value the North Carolina State win very much. Oklahoma seems to be in identity crisis mode. They're really good defensively, but their offense, they're kind of transitioning quarterbacks. They needed a pick 6 to beat a bad Auburn team on the Plains. Tennessee at number 4, higher or lower?
When I did the AP poll, I did it fluid week to week, and I judged you on what you had done so far and what you did that week. And so based on that, if I were doing it this year, I can't take blind faith looking at our roster and going, well, that's clearly, and it is. It's a top 3 roster, obviously. There are 4 teams to me that have rosters that are separated, and it's Bama, Texas, Georgia, and Ohio State. That's a combination of recruiting rankings and portal, eye test, development, all of it. Like, those 4 are different, then I think it's a step back. Tennessee is not in that mix yet. I'm not ready for that. But I do think that they should be ranked ahead of us because of what you just said. They're ranking Ohio State on what they think they will be, not what we've seen, which is fine. Some people do it that way. I get it. That could change this week if you bludgeon Iowa. That could definitely change when you play Oregon in 2 weeks. But right now, Tennessee's win at Norman, which I think, by the way, Josh Heupel took it very easy on the alma mater. He could have buried them, and he didn't. I think that's the most impressive win. It's one of the more impressive wins out there, and it's certainly more impressive than anything Ohio State has done to this point.
Yeah, and they also I think Tennessee should be higher. I think Ohio State could be lower. So I think if you had the Volunteers at 3, I wouldn't have any qualms with it. But there was a time, remember when, NC State was loved by the national voters, so much so they were in the top 25. Then Tennessee went and hung 51 on them.
Yeah.
So there's those 2 wins with teams that have numbers next to their names. As of right now, feel that Tennessee should be at 3 for me, but I'm okay with the voters doing what you said, looking at the roster, saying, dear Lord, Ohio State, what have you. I don't know the 4 people who gave them first place votes, if maybe you want to check yourself, but it's okay for now.
And one more in the top 5, of course, because Georgia lost. I want to get your opinion on them. Georgia at number 5, higher or lower?
They hammered Clemson. Well, obviously, you know that the talent's there. They were sluggish against Kentucky, who isn't, I don't think Kentucky's that much. They're decently coached and pretty good defensively, but they could have lost that game. They really could have 2 losses at this point. If Mark Stoops goes for it on 4th down, who knows? They got an impressive win against Clemson, who I think is decent. I think the reason that they're here and the reason that I'm sort of okay with it is because of the way that they fought back. And had a chance, because a lot of teams fold in that scenario, and they didn't. They took a lead with a little over 2 minutes to go in Tuscaloosa in an environment that was as electric as any you're going to find. I'm okay with it. I think if Oregon were a little bit more impressive in the non-conference, they would be behind Oregon. But do yourself, and no one wants to play this game, but it's the reality of college football because not everybody plays like schedules. If Georgia played Penn State right now, what's the spread? And if you had to bet your life savings on a winner, who would you put the money on a money line?
James Franklin in a big game? Hell no. Georgia.
I mean, who outside of Dan Connor at Penn State, Paul Posluszny, who would bet on Penn State to beat Georgia head to head? You just wouldn't. I don't trust Franklin at all. So it's odd because this is where we are. This is where college football is. It's part of the beautiful mess of it. Georgia is more impressive in a loss than Penn State is in a win.
Yeah, I think for Georgia being at 5 is the perfect spot. Right, their win, the loss that they have is pretty incredible, considering how they were able to come back from that. And I'm glad, at least in terms of Alabama and Georgia, I can't say the same for the rest of the teams in the top 25 that have losses next to them. It feels like the voters actually looked at the game and said, okay, these are very close teams. And I think if there was going to be a spread between Georgia and Penn State, it feels like the dogs would be like 6.5 point, 7 point favorites in that, depending on where it was played. Like if it's in a whiteout at Happy Valley, maybe you'll get 4.5, 5. But
I feel like it could be 10.5 neutral.
That's how the teams, I think. That's the difference in the teams. I think there is a 2-score difference in how good Georgia is relative to Penn State.
Let's round out the top 10 here. Oregon 6, Penn State 7, the U 8, Missouri 9, and the other Block M, Michigan 10. And just because I'm so excited that we got a Paul Puzzlesny name drop on the show, Penn State at 7, higher or lower?
I think Penn State's in a good spot. I don't trust James Franklin as far as I could throw him, which isn't very far. I just think that he is just kind of an anchor around that program of just good enough but not great. They should have been better consistently over the last decade. I think the folks over there are so terrified to fall into oblivion that they just continue to kind of deal with him. And you can't really fire him. They're undefeated. They're ranked 7th. But on eye test, they should be better than what they've been. I do think they have the talent to be in this neck of the woods. I do think they'll be a playoff team in the Big Ten this year. I do think they'll beat USC when they play them out there. So I think this is a nice spot for them. I think they are appropriately ranked ahead of Miami. I think they're more talented than Miami. I think they're more diverse. The thing with Miami is it's kind of only Cam Ward. And if anything happens to him or you bottle him up or he throws it to you, you can house them. So they are at Cal in the 4th window on Saturday. That won't be a challenge for them, but I believe in Penn State more than I believe in Miami because I think Miami is just such a one-trick pony. I think Penn State, Aller's played well, and they've got those 2 backs. So they have a couple of ways offensively to hurt you.
Miami overall is less talented than Florida State was last season, in my opinion.
Agreed. Yes, for sure.
And
Absolutely.
so the similar thing could befall the Hurricanes if, and you're never wishing anybody to get hurt, but if anything did happen to Cam Ward and the Canes go and run the table, you're still, I mean, they'll be in obviously because of the college football playoff. But yeah, I don't think Miami is a legitimate top 10 team. I do think with Penn State, because you asked the question, they're going to bludgeon USC.
I think so too.
Well, let's talk about those Trojans. Let's round out the top 15 since we're short on time. We'll just keep it there. USC 11, Ole Miss 12, LSU 13, My Fighting Irish at 14, and Dabo Swinney's Clemson Tigers at 15. I'll give you 2. You can pick which one you want to take. USC at 11 and Ole Miss at 12. Higher or lower?
You know what my favorite part about this is, Cole, is what the AP did from 10 to 15. I think they got this exactly right. Because guess what? We have results. Michigan beat USC. USC beat LSU. Therefore, USC can't be behind LSU, and Michigan can't be behind USC. We've seen those games played. So they got those right. Notre Dame's loss to Northern Illinois, I think because the Irish are pretty dang good, is it's probably the most stupefying loss of the first month of the season, quite honestly, when you think about it. To lose at home to Northern Illinois, who then went on to lose their next 2 games after beating Notre Dame. I do think Clemson's fine. They're a very solid team. I wouldn't be surprised if they won the ACC and beat Miami. So I think they'll kind of be in the mix. But I actually think that the AP got 10 through 15 perfect.
Yeah, the Ole Miss Kentucky thing just is stupefying. The fact that Kentucky's.
Did you watch it, Reese? That game? Yeah, it was a weird game.
It's just, and it feels like, because what is it? Ole Miss is playing South Carolina this weekend. Like they hang 45 on South Carolina.
It was such a weird game because Kentucky never gave Ole Miss the ball.
No.
They just had these plodding drives. Ole Miss's defense could not get them off the field. And that's,
damn Mark Stoops.
Yeah, a little bit of that. All right, good job. A little bit of higher lower for you here on a First Friday. Chip Kelly asked, what is the difference between being a head coach and an offensive coordinator, from our buddy Adam King? You'll hear his answer coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
After 31 years in Washington, just how much has Sherrod Brown changed? When he first wanted our vote, he said this.
My allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
To Ohio? Sherrod Brown voted for amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. And he voted to give them taxpayer-funded benefits, like free health care to illegals who get amnesty, Social Security checks, COVID relief checks, all to be paid for by you. And Sherrod Brown's open border policies have led to more fentanyl, dangerous gangs, even terrorists pouring into our country. So when Sherrod Brown says this,
my allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
Don't listen to what Sherrod Brown says. Watch what he does. Because Sherrod Brown doesn't vote for Ohio anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We're live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown dumb since day one. The Fan.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change wants to help ease your oil change anxiety with a few moments of automotive peace.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA.
Democrats will do anything to win. Changing the rules, mail-in ballots, cheating, and even opening our borders, all to win at any cost. Now they have a new scheme, Issue 1. Issue 1 would create a redistricting commission aimed at overturning key protections against gerrymandering in Ohio. Protections approved by over 70% of Ohio voters to prevent this exact kind of political manipulation of voting districts. And the members of this mysterious commission are backed by foreign special interest groups. They're unelected, unaccountable, and completely beyond voter control. If they abuse their power, there's no way to vote them out or hold them responsible. Their only purpose is to take control of Ohio's politics and turn the state from red to blue. This isn't democracy, it's deception. Don't let the Dems continue to rewrite the rules to rig the system in their favor. Protect Ohio's voice. Vote no on Issue 1. Paid for by Ohio Works.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Here's a look at that weather report today. Sunny with a high of 72. Clear skies tonight, low 50. Sunny tomorrow with a high close to 80. And then on Friday, sunny with highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. Jake Trotter coming up in 13 minutes around college football. Bishop Friends sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. The solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss on that side of things. A couple of things on the Devontae Adams front. Adam Schefter reporting the Saints and the Jets. Well, yeah. That would make sense. Those are his two quarterbacks that he's been with before. I could see how he'd want to be in both of those places, and I think both those places would make a certain amount of sense if he were to land in either of those spots. It obviously made a lot of sense for Chip Kelly to land here once it became possible and Bill O'Brien took the job at Boston College. It was such a no-brainer. I remember when I first heard it kind of whispered to me that it was in play, I remember thinking, oh, well, that feels like a home run to bring that guy in here and everything that he can bring offensively and everything that he would do in terms of trust factor between him and Ryan Day. And we've seen it play out through the first month. I think the biggest impact of Chip on this offense has been what I think you're going to see this weekend and next, which is this football team just bludgeoning people in the ground game, physically punching you in the mouth over and over and over again. I think that's where you're headed offensively. I think you'll see some of that this week against Iowa, and I think you'll see a lot of that in Eugene in 2 weeks. Chip was asked yesterday by our buddy Adam King from 10 TV, what is the biggest difference between being a head coach and an offensive coordinator and being in the booth? Here was his answer.
You can go to the bathroom between series if you have to. It's about the only difference, I think. It's always kind of tough. Coach Coop can tell you that on the sideline. It's really difficult to say, hey, I'm going to leave, you know what I mean? But there's a bathroom upstairs by the booth, so if need be.
I like he's having a little fun. I like he's having a little fun with it. Yeah.
I think this whole thing's just been fun for him.
Yeah. Where are we on the maniacal laughter track? That's we got to get top men on it. We got to get the MIT kids on it. I think that's probably part of it. I think he's having the time of his life. Truly. I think he gets to hang with his protege. He just gets to call ball plays with this absurdly talented roster. He's probably shown you, my guess is, about 30% of what this offense can be and what this offense will be. We've played it pretty vanilla, pretty straightforward to this point. I think you're going to see a lot of things start to be unveiled in the next couple of weeks with this offense. And so I think what you're going to see is an offense that is one of the more dynamic in the country, because that's what Chip's done everywhere that he's been. He was also asked yesterday, he had a lot of fun. Chip had a lot of fun games. He was asked about what Will Howard could do to improve upon his play. Here's what he had to say.
Complete every pass. And that would be one. Jared Goff did it last night, right? I think he went 18 for 18. So, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown went 1 for 1. So they were 19 for 19 as a team. So,
you think he's not having fun? We're talking about bathrooms in the booth, and we're joking about perfect quarterback play. He's having the time of his life, and why wouldn't you? There will be bigger tests, obviously. There will be a chess match for him against Iowa on Saturday that'll be interesting. But, again, he is clearly having a lot of fun, not just with the availabilities, but also with what happens on a Saturday. Ryan Day was asked about this, and then Chip was asked about it as well, this notion of Will locking onto receivers too much. I don't know where this came from. Do you guys? This notion?
I had seen it creep across Twitter, and I want to say it was the Marshall game and then the Michigan State game.
Was it like one of the PFF type guys, or like?
I don't know if it was PFF, because Ryan Day was asked about PFF at his press conference yesterday, but I just saw it from fans on social media.
Okay, you got asked by both, which leads me to believe that there must be somebody who's doing like the still shot film stuff who is thinking that he's doing this. I have not noticed this. I have not noticed that Will is locking in on receivers too much. Ryan didn't notice it either. We played that a little bit earlier in the program. Here is Chip on that same question.
I think Will's doing a good job. I think there's always a growth with all of that. You know, sometimes it may be a newer route that had gone in, and he doesn't have as many reps in the bank as he does with some of the other things that we've run since day one of spring. You know, I think every quarterback can improve, every coach can improve, every player can improve. I think this is a growth game, you know, and how you develop. And I hope in game 8 we're not playing like we played in game 4. You know, I think it's as you continue to go on and start to add different elements and different things that are happening, different opponents, that's always part of it. But the growth is how do you develop over the course of the season.
I do think it becomes a comfort thing.
Sure.
Where at the beginning of the season, you've got guys you're comfortable with, so you're looking for them and not necessarily looking for a certain route to develop. But you're like, all right, where's Emeka? All right, where's Jeremiah? Because as we've seen, if he's down there somewhere, throw the ball to him.
One thing that's been kind of to that end, one of the things that's been kind of a hallmark of since Brian's been the wide receiver coach and Ryan's been here and that marriage has been here is we really primarily when we have our ones out there, whatever that may look like, we're really kind of just a 3-receiver outfit. You don't see a lot of depth played behind it. So the way that we're going about it now, it's Abuka, Tate, Smith. They eat a lot. And so one thing I'll be curious about the next month is, and it really wasn't expanded much in the month of September, so I'm guessing it'll probably be even less so going forward. Those 3 guys, and what does that start to look like? Because one of the things that Brian's been really, really effective with is recruiting behind that, all while letting just a couple of guys get to eat, and then you kind of wait your turn until it's your turn to eat. Marvin Harrison had to do that. As a freshman, it really wasn't until the Rose Bowl that he went off that you saw what he was totally capable of. So that'll be something worth monitoring here, is just the depth of the receiver room and how many of those guys get to play. The reality of Will Howard playing this position is, if you think about, and under this Chip Kelly offense, if you think about what this is going to try to be big picture, it's going to be the ground game, and it's going to be Will in the ground game, which we really haven't seen too much of. Just a couple of instances here and there through September, which I'm totally fine with, because you shouldn't have him get hit at this time of year. But he'll probably run a little bit more against Iowa. So it'll be the combination of him and the 2 backs. And then it'll be play action off of that, and it will be blanket Jeremiah's down there somewhere. That's going to be part of the offense too. So you're going to have the big playability deep with Smith. You're going to have Tate across the middle. You're going to have Emeka underneath and to the edges. And then you're going to have the physicality in the ground game. That's what this team is going to be offensively if it's going to have the ultimate success. I cannot wait for a bigger test that Iowa will present. Cannot wait for the game against Oregon. We have waited a long time to get to this point where this team can not only punch you in the mouth, but also get punched in the mouth, and not just in the first half, but in the second half as well. Those are things that we'll start to see this week at home against Iowa and next week against Oregon. But I'll tell you this, you feel pretty damn confident about things with the combination of the talent that's on the roster, the diversity that what they can do offensively, and the mad scientist Chip Kelly kind of behind it all and pulling all the strings on it. You feel very good heading into this stretch of what should be very competitive play over the course of the next month. Jake Trotter is going to join us coming up next as we go around college football. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Does your vehicle need maintenance, but you don't have time? Krieger Ford's got you covered. Enjoy our convenient pickup and delivery service, or we come to you with our mobile service van. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today, only at KriegerFord.com.
Real people in Ohio are learning more and more about the real Sherrod Brown.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown, but I didn't know his voting record.
Sherrod voted to let transgender biological men compete in women's sports? What?
And Brown would allow puberty blockers and even sex change surgery for young kids.
For kids? Under Sherrod Brown's spending and inflation, everything is more expensive. Groceries, gas, housing, even electricity. Sherrod sure had me fooled. He votes a lot differently in D.C. than he talks here. Washington has clearly changed Sherrod Brown.
Sherrod's not the guy we supported years ago.
Not at all.
And what Sherrod Brown's voting for, it's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown let us down.
Sherrod's changed. That's why we need to change senators.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Columbus, the wait is over. Blue Jackets hockey is back. Come feel the boom all season long. Be here Tuesday, October 15th for the home opener, presented by Nationwide. Get your tickets today at BlueJackets.com. Football season is here, and we have so much stuff. One station isn't enough. Find even more pigskin on ESPN Columbus.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2, or listen on the Fan app.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Hey, Bobby Carpenter here from Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, announcing our $99 home preventative maintenance checkup. Carpenter and Bryant will do whatever it takes to get you ready for the fall and winter ahead. Check us out at carpentercolumbus.com. That's carpentercolumbus.com.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. Looking to upgrade? The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers and want you to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Indeed it is, and he joins on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline, senior college football reporter at ESPN. Buddy, we're a month in. What is one thing that you thought that was disproven in the first month by a given team or conference or just around the sport? And what is one thing that you maybe had a hunch on that was proven right a month in?
Well, I thought that this would be, you want to stay in the Big Ten or you want to go
wherever you want to live, brother?
I thought that this would be a little bit of a retooling year for Michigan, and I think that that's been correct. You know, I felt like they could be a 9-3 team, but there could be some struggles along the way, and it kind of feels like that's where we're headed. They obviously had the big win over USC. Their season probably looks a little bit different if they don't win that game. And, you know, they're not necessarily blowing anybody out, but they're figuring out a way to win these games, including Minnesota. I didn't see the end of that game on TV live as I was on my way to Penn State, but I thought that they had put that game away, and all of a sudden, you know, Minnesota's lining up for a controversial onside kick. So that's one thing I think I was right about. What was I wrong about? I kind of thought Nebraska would be, you know, maybe a friend, not a Big Ten contender, but like an 8-9 win team potentially. That could still be the case.
Yeah.
But I was really disappointed in them with that Illinois loss, like a game they should have won. And we'll see if that sets them back or not. They had looked impressive to that point. That was a really bad loss. So I kind of had Nebraska in the spot that Illinois and Indiana have turned out to be. And obviously nobody saw Indiana coming. And, they haven't really played anybody either. But still, it's been a great season for them.
It has. Had you ever been to Happy Valley?
Yes.
You have. Okay. So that was not your first trip over there.
It was not, no.
First time for a whiteout?
Yeah, it had to have been because the last time I went was a day game.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know if it wasn't like technically a whiteout. It was unofficially a whiteout.
Okay.
But, yeah, very cool. That game, though, that game was not a work of art by any means.
No. So this gets me to the Penn State question because when you go over there, as you did, and I have several times, you go over there and you go, there ain't no reason that this isn't great. It has a very SEC feel. It's got enormous amount of pomp and circumstance. There's big money in the program, and yet they kind of hit their head up against this glass ceiling year in and year out. And I'm watching them play on Saturday night against Illinois, and I have a ton of respect for Bielema. I really loved him when he was at Wisconsin. I think that what he's done at Illinois is tremendous. But there is no reason for
Altmaier's a good quarterback. They've got good players. I mean, they're not.
He does.
No. They're not an easy out.
They are not, but it should have been easier than it was, especially in Drew Aller's third year in that operation. Nick Singleton in his third year there, all of the talent they have. What do you make of Penn State?
Watching that game, I was like, how is this game still a game? I mean, it was 14-7 in the fourth quarter. And it didn't feel like Illinois had done anything good since the opening drive. And, part of it, I didn't really understand some of the decision making. Like they went for it on 4th and 3 in the red zone. They don't get it. Then they come back and they don't even try to go for the first down. It was like they were playing for the field goal and they miss it. They miss another 40-yard field goal. They had an interception return for a touchdown that was called back on just a mindless block in the back behind the play. Like, if you were watching the game and not really paying attention to the score, you would have thought Penn State was up like 31-7, and yet it was 14-7 with just a few minutes to go. So I don't think they took advantage of their opportunities. They're good enough to beat Illinois doing that. They're not good enough to beat Ohio State if they do that. Like, you have to play a clean game, and when you get the ball in the red zone, like, you got to get points. And there were just too many drives in that game where, there was just no consistency in the decision making. I felt like you're going for the field goal here, you're going for the first down there. It's like with Kevin Stefanski and the Browns. You can predict what they're going to do. Like, they're going to go for it most of the time. It's what they do. And in this Penn State game, it's like there was just no cohesiveness to some of the decision making, and I think that really hurt them and allowed Illinois to keep that game really close. But Penn State's got the players. That's not the issue on both sides of the ball. I think the issue is just them putting it all together in games that matter. And, to this point, they haven't had to play anyone too overwhelming. They go to USC in a couple of weeks, the same weekend that Ohio State goes to Oregon. That's going to be a really big test for them. And if they come out of there with a win, then you've got the November 2nd game against Ohio State, and, that could be for a berth in the Big Ten championship game. So they have an opportunity to really make a statement. I'm impressed with them. I just feel like at times they have messed around in a way that they're not going to be able to get away with later on in the year.
You basically sum up my Penn State opinion over the last 15 years. It's basically.
Is it a James Franklin thing?
It is. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
When I talk to people over there, Rich Garcella, the guys over there I talk to, Dave Jones, when I talk to them, that's what I always come back to, is that I think they're fearful to move off of him because they don't want to fall into oblivion, right? Because that can happen anywhere. And I think that they would rather take his 10-2, lose to Ohio State and Michigan 9-3. They would rather take that than hire the wrong guy and be 5-6 or whatever. Versus the other view of it, which would be, well, this isn't good enough. We want to be what Ohio State is, and we want to be what Michigan is. So I do think it is a Franklin thing, and I think as long as he's there's kind of a concrete ceiling on what that operation can be. I really do.
This is a big year. This is a big year for him and a big year for them. They don't play Michigan, and Michigan's down a little bit anyway. They do have to go to USC, but they don't have Oregon. I mean, they have a real opportunity to get into the playoff. Like, I think if they don't get to the playoff, based on the talent that they have and just the landscape of the Big Ten, that would really be a disappointing season, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be utter failure. Before you got on the college football side of things, my friend, we're thrilled that you have. You were, I thought, the best insider on the Browns side of things as can be. As you watch what's happened there the first month, how much of it could you have forecasted, and did you see any of this coming?
Well, I didn't see 1-3, but I did think there was, going to be some hurdles for them. And one thing I really felt watching them, and I did the post game show up here, and so I followed them pretty closely, even though I'm not covering them anymore for ESPN. And you really feel like this team is suddenly old, and you feel the impact of no first or second round picks the last 3 years, and certain positions like defensive tackle, receiver, even running back, certainly. They just don't have, I think, as many good players as they would have had around their stars had they not made the Watson trade. And it, everything about this team is either directly or indirectly about the quarterback. And I actually thought Watson played really well for him in the Vegas game. Like, they scored one offensive touchdown, so let's not go crazy, but I didn't think he was the biggest of their issues in that game. And yet the combination of his cap figure and the picks that they had to give up to get him just continues to hamper the entire team. And, they were willing to live with that. They knew what the risk was, but they thought, okay, we're going to get a guy who is going to be good enough to overcome all of that. And in no way, shape, or form has he been that. Even when he's played well, it's, he's played at a top 15 at best level. He's not at a top 5 level. And his QBR continues to be bottom 1, 2, or 3 in the league. So, if you're not getting the Joe Burrow, the Josh Allen caliber of play, it's really difficult to overcome other shortcomings. And this team has just got a bunch. Like, the offensive line is not what it's been. It's injured. It's older. They just are not playing well across the board. There's really, who's the playmaker you're really worried about without Njoku out there, with Amari taking a step back this year? And then defensively, like Miles, even though he's on one leg or no legs, I guess he's hurt, both feet are hurt, he's still fantastic, but if they don't get anything out of the defensive tackle position right now, that, Zadarius Smith, has he even played this year? The secondary, I think, is not quite as tenacious as it's been. And, I think their linebackers have been good, but when you take a step back, they're just not a top 5 defense right now. And you put in an offense that has no identity, up and down quarterback play, no, playmakers that scare you, with a defense that is no longer top 3 and might not even be top 10 anymore. You're looking at a 5-12, 6-11 type team. And if they don't win in Washington this weekend, and they're going to be an underdog, you're looking at 1-4. The schedule's really tough the rest of the way. It could unravel pretty fast.
But other than that, it's all good, right?
What do you think?
I agree. I think a lot of what you said, I think the depth, all of it. I think it's tough.
Yeah.
And I think they got old quick, and I think that they're trying to make a quarterback into something they thought they were trading for who just isn't. And now you're stuck.
And that's the thing with the offense, Bo. It's like they revolved everything. They fired their staff offensively. They brought in Ken Dorsey. We're going to build this offense that was actually pretty good last year with Joe Flacco. We're going to throw that in the trash. We're going to build this new offense that's really going to get the most out of Watson. And you're doing that for a quarterback who's just not the guy that he was 5 years ago. And so what are you doing exactly? And as a result, they just look completely discombobulated. And it wouldn't surprise me if they leaned on Stefanski to give up play calling, but they don't really have a lot of levers to pull at this point. They don't really have a lot of levers to pull.
No, they don't. Great stuff, buddy. Appreciate you. We'll do it again next week.
All right, sounds good.
That's our great friend Jake Trotter, college football reporter at ESPN, joining us on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Thing or Not a Thing coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
The meatloaf!
The Fan.
Dormar, you're kind of hero.
Dort, what's that guy yelling about in my noisemaker?
Dormar, you're kind of hero.
You're climate hero, you fossil.
What's a climate hero?
That's Dormar, our same-day heating and AC company we've used for 60 years.
Who?
Dormar, you're kind of hero.
Come on, Dad, you laugh every time you hear their tidy-whitey commercials.
Yep, those are funnier.
Dormar, you're kind of hero.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half-geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward here. Thanksgiving is coming fast, and with Awaken 180, why not bring Thankful 30 to the dinner table this year? You, thankful for dropping 30 or more pounds by Turkey Day. I dropped my first 30 in just over a month. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Columbus, the wait is over. Blue Jackets hockey is back. Come feel the boom all season long. Be here Tuesday, October 15th for the home opener, presented by Nationwide. Get your tickets today at BlueJackets.com. Dick from Dayton says, listen to the Ryan Day Show. Paul Keels and Jim Lachey join Coach every Thursday from noon to 1.
Presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every single night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I get it. But there are alternatives to the CPAP machine, and Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and stops your snoring. What a concept. It's quick, comfortable, and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and he has a track record to prove it. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. And as the end of the year approaches, a lot of people have exceeded their medical deductibles, which means less out of pocket for you. Don't delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or you can visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com.
Saturday is game day on the Fan.
Sponsored by Riker Ford.
Every game, every season, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And time for a little thing or not a thing on a First Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
On Tuesday, Ohio State junior point guard Bruce Thornton was named to the 10-member preseason All-Big Ten team. Thornton's coming off an All-Big Ten season that saw him lead the Buckeyes in scoring, assists, steals, and minutes played per game. Also on that 10-person team, Penn State guard Ace Baldwin Jr. He was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Purdue guard Braden Smith, who's the preseason Player of the Year. Rutgers guard Dylan Harper. And Washington's $2 million center, Great Osabor. Thing or not a thing?
Here's what's crazy. So Great Osabor is started at Montana State. He's an England native, like from England. Started at Montana State with Danny Sprinkle, who was a guy that was the same age I was, and actually he and I dated the same girl when we were not at the same time.
You and Great Osabor?
No. I'll get there, though. Great Osabor was at Montana State. Danny got a job at Utah State. Great Osabor went to Utah State. Danny Sprinkle got a job at Washington. Great Osabor went to Washington. Great Osabor is a dude. Absolute dude, and will be a big-time problem. And the way Washington's going to play is going to be a problem as well. They'll play well. So that's cool. On our side of things, I thought it was really cool to see the video the Buckeye basketball team put up of Jake and how energetic he was in practice. I don't know if his voice can withstand that every time out, but I thought that was really cool to see. I am fascinated to see how Bruce plays alongside of Michi, because I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. They're very similar players. So I'm curious to see what that looks like.
I'll give it a little bit of a thing. You know, you're not a bum if you're cracking the two deep here, so to speak, for the all Big Ten.
Yeah, it's the first team, but there's 10 of them.
Exactly. So you basically got a first team and a second team. You're not a bum if you're on this list, but at the same time, I don't really like all these preseason awards. Like, the proof will be in the pudding at the end of the day. I particularly hate all the awards that put out the watch list at the beginning and have like 75 people on it, and then they whittle it down to 50 at the midway point. I guess I'm kind of complicit because I used to be an intern with the Naismith Awards, and we did that. So I guess I'm kind of, in a roundabout way, kind of guilty of that myself, but I'll give it a little bit of a thing.
Hold on just a second. You were an intern with the Naismith Award?
Social media intern in college.
So what information do you have on when they put out that initial watch list? Like how big, because I don't ever actually count it. How big of a net do they cast on that thing?
Oh, huge. Like, it looks like 1 million people are on the watch list. It looks like the entire college basketball season.
Well, you got to watch them.
Yeah.
Gotta watch them. I'm really interested to see this Buckeye basketball team play. They have a lot of new pieces. They got rid of some guys that I think people forget sometimes that they got rid of. I am very curious to see what this looks like.
There's a viral clip going around right now. Maybe you've seen it. Micah Parsons and Darius Slay were on a podcast together. Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys, Darius Slay of the Philadelphia Eagles on a podcast in the middle of the football season. Maybe you guys have seen the clip. Micah and Darius are kind of laughing at C.J. Gardner-Johnson, defensive back for the Eagles, plays in the same secondary as Darius Slay. He was talking some trash before the Buccaneers game, ended up having Mike Evans score a touchdown on him, so they were kind of just laughing and joking about that. But this was no laughing and joking matter for James Jones, a former NFL receiver, retired in 2016, so kind of a recent player. And he's now on their show, The Facility. It's a new show on FS1. And we're going to listen to this audio clip in all of its glory. A little bit of a longer clip, but I love when former athletes stop sounding like athletes and start to talk like fans.
I hate everything about this. The competitive nature of our game is going. Everybody's worried about this fame, the stardom, and all that. Nobody's worried about the competition no more. This right here screams to me, that's my homeboy. I ain't worried about him playing over there. There's no rivalries in football no more, real rivalries. Not on the field, not off the field. There's no more real rivalries. I always remember the old school players, because a lot of them are scouts now, probably in y'all building too with the Eagles. I remember them all always saying, man, we were the dogs, y'all. I'm like, bro, what you talking about? But they right. They was way more of dogs than us. They played way harder. They way more rivals, way more competition. I remember Sammy Seal. I had a conversation with Sammy Seal, and he said, he played DB. He was a scout for the Packers. And he said, I used to grow my nails out real long. Because at the end of the game, that receiver going to have scratches all on his neck. Like, that's how, like, the rivalries was back in, it was just different. Nowadays, man, like Shady said, we trying to trade jerseys. The backup quarterbacks is trading jerseys. The starting running backs is trading jerseys. There is no rivalries in the league no more. And it starts with this little stuff right here. I know it sounds crazy, but it starts with this little stuff right here. You friends with this dude, you probably going to go on your podcast the next week and say, man, my dog Slay was on my podcast. He had a big... That's crazy to me.
Hell yeah. Get off of James Jones's lawn. There we go. I love it. All right, podcasts... mid-season rivals going on each other's podcasts, thing or not a thing?
Well, I think it is a thing. I think it's real. I don't know that. I feel like I was the first one to say this. I could be wrong. Maybe someone else said it, but years ago I coined this phrase with LeBron, and this was probably like it was when he was going to go to the Miami Heat, and I used this phrase, the AAUification of the NBA. So what we have seen over the last 15 years is the AAUification of sports. Okay. So in the old days, you'd go to a school and you'd try to beat another school. Now they want all the best players to play together. So just like AAU, we want all the best players to play together. If you look at college basketball recruiting rankings, hell, between Kentucky and Duke, especially when Cal was at Kentucky, 10 of the top 20 players in the country would go to those two schools every year to play together. And the same thing is happening in professional sports. The world is smaller. They're hanging and running in the same circles. And they say, hey, why don't you come play with me here? So there isn't that vitriol. They can connect easier. And I think James Jones is right. There isn't as much vitriol between. I see it after every NFL game where there's smiles after. I mean, Miles is smiling after the loss to the Raiders, and I'm just using Miles because he's the best player in the NFL, maybe. But that's common throughout the league. There isn't the hate there used to be. It just doesn't exist.
I still can't get over listening to that former teammate of James Jones's that had his nails long so that he'd leave scratch marks on opponents' necks.
Yeah,
that's a little crazy.
That's how it was.
But I guess football players not known to be the most sensible.
No social media, so it was harder to connect. You really wouldn't see anybody. If you played for the Steelers and the Browns, like you played for those two teams, you'd see each other twice a year. You hate each other, and then you would do it again the next year. They weren't vacationing together.
I would say, if you're in season and you've got guys on your team that are going on podcasts, I'd be less than thrilled unless it was from an official channel. Yeah. But I don't know if you're the Cowboys because Jerry Jones goes on the radio whenever he likes.
Sure.
Can you rein in anything from your organization?
You can't, is the short answer of it. You can't tell a guy what he can't do. So if they want to do it, they can. All right, final hour of the program on a First Friday up next. We begin it with, hey, guys, winner here gets the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Get your ex to the lodge for the freshest menu additions. Spice up your wing order with new sauces featuring the chicken tikka or spicy chili crisp. Or try our famous flatbreads with the backyard barbecue brisket or chicken tikka. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just a slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
At APCO Windows, there's no 35% off sales, no buy one, get one free, just our best bottom line price. So get multiple estimates. Just make sure one is from APCO.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
With so much in one place, Meijer is the only stop you'll need to make. Save big with weekly deals going on now, like California red or black seedless grapes, only $1.49 per pound. Fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef, just $4.99 a pound. And Meijer shredded, sliced, or chunk cheese, 3 for $6. You can always count on low prices and great quality at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See these deals and more in-store or in the Meijer app.
At Roof Revivers, we save not only your roof, but your money too. Whether you need a quick repair or a full replacement, we've got you covered. While many companies jump straight to replacements, we always start with repairs. Replacements, that's our last resort. We'll provide a clear, detailed explanation of what your roof needs, complete with photos, so you know exactly why. With over 350 five-star reviews on Google, honesty is at the heart of everything we do. Roof Revivers is ready to work for you. Visit roofrevivers.com today. Roof Revivers, we fix leaky roofs.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The AL Central could have 3 teams in the ALDS if the Tigers and Royals win today. At 2:30, Detroit's at Houston versus the Astros in Game 2 of the AL Wildcard Series. Tigers won Game 1 on Tuesday and would advance to face the Guardians in the ALDS with a win today. An Astros win would force a deciding Game 3 tomorrow in Houston. The Royals beat the Orioles last night in Game 1 of their Wildcard Series. Baltimore will host Game 2 at 4:30 and needs a win to force a Game 3 on Thursday. In the NFL, Nick Chubb's expected back to practice today for the Browns. Cleveland lost their star running back to a knee injury in Week 1 of last season. Chubb's been recovering from knee surgery, and the Browns aren't expected to activate him before Sunday when they play in Washington against the Commanders. In college football, number 3 Ohio State hosts Iowa Saturday at 3:30 in all gray. This update sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus. Bronco, Explorer, Mustang Mach-E, and more ride into autumn with Valley Ford of Columbus.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, coming up in about a half hour from now, Andrew Siciliano will join us. He called the Buckeye game Saturday, the Browns game on Sunday. Get you officially endorsed as well. Right now, however, it's time for a little Hey Guys. Hit it, fellas.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag #HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
Yeah, and the winner here gets that $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank, the free distillery tour, the tasting for up to 10. And as a reminder, we will be there. An unforgettable evening, Tuesday, November 12th, High Bank Distillery, Grandview. The release of the exclusive fan barrel picks. I helped pick these. I'm telling you, you're going to like them. Proceeds benefit Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation, making a difference in the lives of veterans. Enjoy exclusive barrel picks, delicious food pairings, live music, and meet and greet with select athletes. For tickets and more information, head to 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. And then we will be doing our first Friday show from there the following day. So you have that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. Go ahead, Reese.
All right, so Ace leads off in the YouTube chat asking Uncle Bo, more of a hey Bo, if your dad knows the Montana man who was Frankensteining those animals, he adds, I hope I speak for all of us. We need to know how that conversation went.
I can't quote it exactly, but this was the long and short of it.
I had forgotten.
I had forgotten about this and then I remembered that we talked about this yesterday on the show. So I called him on the way home from basketball tryouts last night. Yeah, I know the blank hole. You've asked me about it before. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I've inconvenienced you with a second asking of some idiot doing hybrid sheep in Montana. I'm sorry that a guy who I grew up 30 minutes from or 25 minutes from, I did not know his name. He feels like I should know him. That was his overall sense, that I should know. Don't you remember? No, I don't. I don't remember anything about this clown. So there was that. And then he goes, then he had to get off the phone with me because he was in Cody, Wyoming, looking at livestock. Okay. All right. There you go. So all the kids who want the glowy Yellowstone lifestyle, that's the reality of it. That's exactly what it is.
You'd think
Great conversation, Dad. We'll catch up again in a month.
I hate to sound so suburban, but when you say looking at livestock for the purpose of purchasing them?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it out in the mountains.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure if he's in Cody, it's probably a horse sale, is my guess. Is probably what he was doing there. By the way, it's a bit of a drive from where I grew up in north central Montana to Cody, Wyoming. I mean, upwards of 6 hours. So yeah, did he drive 6 hours to go to a horse sale? Yeah, that's right. No, just a normal Tuesday.
Dustin on the YouTube chat chimes in, hey guys, what is an acceptable amount to spend on a Halloween costume? $120 for a Jeepers Creepers prosthetic mask for my kid to wear for 2 hours and never again. Oof. Feels a little goofy.
It is a little goofy, Dustin. You do not have to do that. This is a get off my lawn, but like, you know how I was Dracula for like 6 years. White face paint, black cape, false teeth, red makeup dribbling blood, hair slicked back, the end. I don't even know if kids know who Dracula is anymore. What's happening now, this is what I figured out. I remember telling the story a couple years ago. My kids would always be like, oh, I want to be a football player. And I would say, well, why don't you just pick a football uniform out of your closet and do that? And they'd be like, no, I want to go as Justin Jefferson. Come again? Why do you want to be Justin Jefferson? And then you go, oh, so that they would get a jersey. It was all a con to get a jersey. That's what the whole thing was. So I don't even know if when I see the kids come around, they don't. I mean, when I was a kid, it was a steady diet of most of the girls were witches. Most of the boys were Dracula, Frankenstein, and ghosts. When I see the kids come through the neighborhood now, the boys are mostly sports figures. The girls are usually Disney princesses. So I don't see anybody who's that scary anymore. Those masks are great though. You guys remember a year ago when the kids didn't know about it and I bought the Jason mask, and then they were looking at their candy in the foyer, and I snuck out the back door and just stuck the Jason mask on my head in the window and knocked on the window, and it was the funniest. I can't believe I didn't record it. It was so diabolical. Beamsy fell to the floor crying, just fell to the floor crying. NBC and Beams and Bootsy sprinted upstairs crying. I had to go inside. It's me. None of them could look at me. They were all bawling. It was the greatest. It was one of the funniest. I'm already planning a second one. I'm going to get them.
I was about to say, how do you follow that up this year?
So I think my wife threw away the Jason mask, which really pissed me off. So I don't want to do that again. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm thinking about Freddy Krueger is kind of the one I'm thinking about, or I may go like some sort of alien mask.
I would say alien because it feels like Freddy Krueger, you'd have to purchase the claw. You'd have to get the accessory just to kind of like tap on the window.
Like oh my God, that'd be unbelievable. The nails.
Just the fingers wrapping on the window. You know?
And then just have Krueger.
So maybe we've already figured it out for you, but you have to see.
You don't have to pay $120 though, is the long and short of it.
Gosh, that's expensive. A couple years ago, I bought, I think this was at a Halloween store, the movie A League of Their Own, Tom Hanks' character, Jimmy Dugan.
Yeah.
I bought a male baseball outfit from that one, and I've just worn that a couple of times since, because, no, I'm not spending a ton of money on a costume.
Yeah. Cole, what was your favorite as a kid? Favorite costume?
I was a football player every year, so I guess I don't know. I guess I'm kind of in the middle here between your kids and you generationally.
That's right.
But Halloween tended to lean more toward your kids for my generation.
Yeah. It was like, let's dress like football players. That's usually what happens. Yeah.
I never thought of it until you guys until Bo, you said something about it. I'm like, oh yeah, just a jersey, eye black, and you get something year round.
Yes.
I think my mom's favorite one that we ever did, we did Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but it was me and my two brothers dressed up as like Brian Urlacher, Devin Hester, and some other Chicago Bear, and my blonde sister.
There you go.
That's pretty funny.
There's the family.
There you go.
Matt chimes in, hey guys, my son's final week of Pee Wee footballs this week. How was the experience from going from that to 7th grade football? I've always usually done chain gang to scoreboard and other things, distance myself from the chatty parents in the crowd.
So he sounds like me, honestly. So NBC had his second to last game last night. We won like 36-6 or something. I stand in the corner. His name Matt. So I stand in the corner. Everybody else goes to the stands. I stand in the corner by myself. There are a couple of friends who may come over and will chop it up a little bit, but I stay away from the parental section as well. The biggest difference is honest to goodness, you're going to see a tremendous, depending on how good your Pee Wee program is. I think my experience is going to be like, all of a sudden, like, they're not worried about everybody playing, like best kids play. Usually Pee Wee programs, you have minimum play requirements for everybody on the roster, which you should. But they don't care anymore. It goes from like, hey, everyone gets a chance. Yeah, we're still winning to, hey, we're going to win, baby. And that's it. And they hold kids accountable. And the other thing I've seen, it's not necessarily in our town, because I think our coaching is excellent in our town. Very good program. But what I see at some of the other towns is a lot of these 7th grade teams can't even operate. And what I mean by that, like, they can't snap the ball and hand it to a running back without fumbling it. They can't get up and not have procedural penalties. Because guess what? It's really hard to coach middle school football. You have to be available at 3 o'clock when school gets out, and you have to be able to do it 5 days a week. There aren't that many jobs that allow for that, other than someone who's a teacher at the middle school. So I think you'll also see potentially, depending on how good your town's program is, you could also see a little bit of a drop back in coaching. We didn't see that here, but you could see that too.
Time for one more here. Troy tweets in, hey guys, what's your favorite Halloween/horror movie to watch this time of the year, as we are 2 days into what I would call officially spooky season?
It's a hole in the resume. I hate horror movies. I just have never liked them. I didn't like them as a kid. I don't particularly care for them now. I found, like, I think I've said this before, I found like Silence of the Lambs far scarier than like Hellraiser or Halloween or any of that. Like that was the realism of it was so much more scary to me and frightening to me than any of the horror movies that are out there. I do enjoy the original Halloween. I think that one's a little bit of, I do like that one. I'll go with that. Scream was fun when I was because that came out. I want to say I think high school for that one. So that was a fun one. More of just kind of a fun one. But in terms of actually really scary ones, I think the more realistic stuff is a little bit more scary. So I guess that answers the question. What did you guys have one?
I've seen both of the Conjurings, but movies are a big hole in my resume. I have not seen many movies, so communicating with Rothman's really hard. I can't really pick up half the things that he's saying, but I know that it comes from a movie. But not a big scary movie guy. We always watched To Kill a Mockingbird. That was kind of our family movie, because at the end there's like a Halloween play scene where, you know, she dresses up with a ham or whatever. But that was more based off of tradition. That's far less about being scary.
If I was a radio hack, and I'm not saying that I am, or I'm not really saying that I'm not, I would make the joke that I don't need a horror film when every Sunday during this time of the year I've got Cleveland Browns football.
You do.
Cover your eyes, kids.
Did you watch them as a kid? Horror movies as a kid?
No.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't until later. Like, if they were on, maybe, but some of the, I've tried with like the extra gory films, and those just don't do it for me. So I don't. Maybe Beetlejuice I'll watch this time of the year, but that's about it.
NBC and his idiot 12-year-old buddies, they have these sleepovers, and they just watch like 6 horror movies. So he's seen like all of them, and he's totally numb to it at this point. That's all they do is watch these ridiculous movies. All right, we got to pick a winner. Was it Dustin who asked the Halloween question, which got me to relive the...
started this whole thing off was Dustin.
All right, we'll go Dustin. You're the winner, and you're a very big winner, my friend, because you're going to get the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. You're going to get that free distillery tour and tasting for up to 10 people. It's the home of the best blended whiskey in America 3 years running. It is right here in town, 3 locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and Westerville. Enjoy their award-winning spirits for your next happy hour. Make your reservation at highbankco.com. Drink local, drink High Bank. Dovetailing off of Reese and his conversation about the horrors that has been the first month of the season for the Cleveland Browns, we will take a look at the AFC North at the quarter pole, see where we're at and where this division is going to shake out. Coming up next, Andrew Siciliano coming up at 11:35. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
At Baths R Us, we're terrible roofers. We stink at installing siding. And don't ever call us for your kitchen remodel. But if you want a stunning, beautiful bathroom makeover in just 2 or 3 days, now that's when you want to call us. See, unlike most contractors these days, we offer only one service, bathroom remodeling. We don't spread ourselves thin by doing roofing or siding and a bunch of other stuff. Nope. At Baths R Us, we dedicate every company resource into mastering the craft of bath transformations. It's why we're the Midwest's biggest 5-star family-owned bathroom company. And it's why we have the happiest customers. Just check out our Google reviews. Baths R Us. We're terrible roofers, but we're awesome bathroom remodelers. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsrus.com. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings with new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items like pineapples, avocados, navel oranges, and lettuce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community, except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station, except Bo. The Fan.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com.
After 31 years in Washington, just how much has Sherrod Brown changed? When he first wanted our vote, he said this.
My allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
To Ohio? Sherrod Brown voted for amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. And he voted to give them taxpayer-funded benefits, like free health care to illegals who get amnesty, Social Security checks, COVID relief checks, all to be paid for by you. And Sherrod Brown's open border policies have led to more fentanyl, dangerous gangs, even terrorists pouring into our country. So when Sherrod Brown says this,
my allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
Don't listen to what Sherrod Brown says. Watch what he does. Because Sherrod Brown doesn't vote for Ohio anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Longing for thick, healthy, gorgeous hair? Say goodbye to shedding thin and dull hair and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume from New Nordic.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
After several days of the doom and gloom, the sunshine is back with us today. 72 is your high today. Sunny this afternoon. Clear tonight, low 50. Sunny on Thursday with a high of 77. Sunny on Friday with a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese. A little bit of breaking news on the baseball rights side of things. See if you can help us make sense of this for the audience.
Oh, boy, this is going to be this is going to be clear as mud, I think, until some more comes out of this. But Diamond Sports, who's the parent company of Bally Total Fitness Sports, who is the worst, if any of those who've tried to watch Guardians or Blue Jackets or Reds can attest to, like, their app stinks. The whole thing's a mess. But in a bankruptcy hearing today, it is going to go forward with a reorg. They're filing a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which we already kind of knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
But according to Daniel Kaplan, who covers sports business, and Awful Announcing put this in front of me, that Bally Sports is going to be rejecting all of its Major League Baseball team contracts other than the one for the Atlanta Braves. So I think this could mean two things. Either that they're going to try to renegotiate deals with the other teams that they had contracts for, or they're just backing away from Major League Baseball altogether outside of Atlanta, which is great for fans of the Guardians and the Reds, because maybe Major League Baseball steps in, absorbs their broadcast production of those teams, and then does away with the stupid blackout policy.
Why would they keep the Braves?
My guess is they're the only one that generates revenue.
That'd be the common, yeah. I mean, that common sense makes, but that the only one? I mean, that seems...
I can't imagine.
Here's the thing with baseball. This is the thing. Baseball, which used to be our national pastime, in fact, that's the nickname, has become an ultra hyper regional local sport. So what I mean by that is, if you are a fan of the Cleveland Guardians or the Cincinnati Reds, you care vehemently about those two entities. You care, you watch every game. The people who are locked in, like Reese, watches every game. Like C-Dup, he probably watches every Tigers game that is played, right? We got people who watch every Reds game that is played, win or lose, they watch it, right? But what we have found over the last couple of decades is that if you are not in those markets, you don't care at all about them. So what that means is, in the NFL and college football, which are national sports now, the best example is what just happened this past weekend. Alabama and Georgia did 14.1 million viewers, okay? It's going to be Ohio State, Michigan will beat it, but that's probably it all season long in terms of total viewership. Will be that one. Although Texas, Georgia could get close, we'll see. But right now it's the most since 2020 on ESPN ABC. So whether you that tells me very obviously that a ton of people in this country nationally cared about that game. To get a $14 million number, or 14 million person number, nationally, people who have no ties to Georgia, who have no ties to Alabama, just want to watch really good football and care about it. Conversely, if you do not have a team in the baseball playoffs, what we've found is, through ratings, is that the casual baseball fan doesn't exist. That you get on the bandwagon if it's in your area. For example, there will be a ton of people who come out of the woodwork on the Guardians if they make a run. If they get to the ALCS and make a run, there will be a ton of people here in Central Ohio who will be all into that run. But they will also unplug as soon as it's over and not get back in until it happens again next year. They will not watch day to day, and they certainly will not watch once the Guardians are eliminated. The average fan. The diehard fan will watch. The average baseball fan will not. And so as baseball has become what was once the national pastime, ultra regional and local, football has gone the other way. So when I see stuff like this, first of all, I think it's incredible mismanagement that you can't profit off the Reds and the Guardians. I don't understand how you don't profit off of those two entities. The app's bad. I'm old school. I always have cable, so I'm always able to watch them both. This would also, by the way, affect the Blue Jackets. Right? They would be involved in this as well.
Yeah.
I think what you're going to see, I think there's really only two kind of roadmaps for this, because in the old days when Sports Time Ohio launched up in Northeast Ohio, there was Fox Sports Ohio, Sports Time Ohio. There was even the Ohio News Network at that time. So there were 3 cable entities that could have carried sports and could have shown all of the games and had the inventory to be able to plug those games into their inventory. Now those don't exist. There isn't any of that. So I think what you're going to see is leagues take control of the broadcast. So would Manfred, for example, on the Major League Baseball side of it say, hey, I'm going to have all of the baseball under my umbrella, and I'll do a package with Amazon or MLB TV if we want to launch our own thing, or Apple TV, probably Apple TV, where all of the Major League Baseball is on Apple TV or Amazon or YouTube TV, and that's the only way you get to see it. And then maybe they farm out a couple of local games to a local affiliate, right? Up in Cleveland, up in Cincinnati, here for us with the Blue Jackets locally. You farm out those games to some of them, and then you put together a broadcast team, and you treat that as like freelancers. And the local guys still do their games. Hell, you could even simulcast the radio guys for some of this stuff. But what you could... So that's probably the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is they do exactly what I just said, and then they have broadcasters who aren't even in the stadium.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Hate that. That was probably the worst.
So
still, I think some teams do it.
I don't know if Major League Baseball, if any of these teams want to start their own networks anymore.
No.
I don't think so. Like, yes, SNY, Masson, there's some of those that are still out there and have done well, but I don't know that model's viable long-term anymore.
If the tippy-top men at Tegna are listening to this, I know there are some teams in the NHL, in the NBA, in the WNBA, who in the local markets, they will be available on broadcast, so available via your rabbit ears. That could be a step you take.
So that's your Phoenix Suns.
Right?
They're doing that.
The Utah Jazz and Hockey Club?
I think the Nuggets and the Avalanche both just went local like that.
Caitlin Clark was available locally in Indianapolis through Tegna.
Okay, so then the operation there would be, and you guys have a better handle on this, and I'll acknowledge my ignorance. In that scenario, the individual teams they put together the production, and then they farm the production to the local affiliate so that everyone can watch it. Is that true?
That's the sense I get for at least the Phoenix Suns one.
What makes me question then, because if you're in Columbus, you can call up DirecTV and you can get a particular package from a region outside of Ohio.
Sure.
I wonder what would happen if it would be like the Guardians, because they would probably have their home base, I imagine, on channel whatever in Cleveland. Bo, you would know better than me, depending on if it's the Fox affiliate, CBS affiliate, NBC affiliate, whatever. How would that work for like Columbus? Would we have access? Would like the Reds be on channel 10, and would the Guardians be on channel 4? Like, how would that work for people outside of that city?
With rabbit ears is if you could make it available via like a 10.2. So with DTV now, and I don't know exactly which ones we have here, but there's channel 10, which I think on the rabbit ears is like 10.1, but there are other stations who have a 6 and a 6.1 and a 6.2. Those could be offerings on those other stations. It's kind of like with the Fans HD2, which you can find if you hit the little HD button on your car radio. There are other signals that they're sending out that where you could have those kinds of things offered and then sell the commercials around that.
To your point, though, Cole, what would have to happen outside of market, though, would have to be an app availability. So that's why I came back to the Amazon or Apple TV, because obviously everybody who loves, just think about how big of a brand like the Reds are. Look, you were in St. Louis. There are St. Louis Cardinal fans everywhere. Can you imagine if you could only get it in the St. Louis metro? off of rabbit ears. So that means it has to be available everywhere else. So that's where that app comes in. That's where the Amazon Prime partnership or the Apple TV partnership, I think, would have to come in. I can't see any other scenario other than that.
Yeah, you're talking about St. Louis, and there's a lot of history there with KMOX radio and how that radio signal was able to be heard from
Jack Buck.
Exactly, states and states away. And so that's how they recruited so many Cardinals fans across the Midwest, way back decades ago when radio was it. So that would be something that would really hurt if people in Iowa couldn't access it or something like that. So
absolutely,
that's definitely very important.
Yeah, so that'll have to be through the app. So I think maybe that's the plan. But if this goes the way that it's going, what you're headed for is a new frontier in terms of consuming everything that you already consume on Bally. So that's your Blue Jackets, your Cavs, your Guardians, and your Reds for us here locally. All of those things would be under that umbrella. Andrew Siciliano, play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, and he was the voice on Peacock on Saturday for the Buckeyes, and Sparty will join us coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safelite Auto Glass. Have to ask about the defense, how they played, continue to play at such a high level, and also continuing to force turnovers.
Yeah, the turnovers were huge, especially in the red zone. I felt like, after halftime, we settled down a little bit and made some adjustments and did a nice job of really kind of shutting them down after that. But a couple of things in the first half we certainly want to look at to get better at, identify, some of the breakdowns that happened. But again, when you're only, giving up 7 points in a conference game, it's a job well done. But always things to work on, always things to get better at.
We'll have another comment in just a moment. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile, get it done teams, the achieve more together teams, and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
Ryan, this seemed to be a game, and you guys see it all the time, but where those of us lay people could really feel the influence of Caleb Downs in the secondary. Is he a guy that just continues to grow with what he does?
He does, yeah. He's very, very active. You could see how fast he gets down to the line of scrimmage, and that's a sign of a great safety that, those hits are happening on the line of scrimmage or maybe a yard downfield. Somebody who's not as aggressive or as quick to get down there, those confrontations are happening at like 3 and 4 yards. But with Caleb, he's down there so fast. He recognized things quick. But here's another guy who has a tremendous amount of talent, but his preparation is excellent. He's in here early in the morning, staying late. Wants to make sure that he gets with Coach Walton and goes through all the different details, and Coach Carreri, all the details of the opponent, and he's got great energy on the field. You can feel him when he's on it.
Okay, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Real people in Ohio are learning more and more about the real Sherrod Brown.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown, but I didn't know his voting record.
Sherrod voted to let transgender biological men compete in women's sports? What?
And Brown would allow puberty blockers and even sex change surgery for young kids.
For kids? Under Sherrod Brown's spending and inflation, everything is more expensive. Groceries, gas, housing, even electricity. Sherrod sure had me fooled.
He votes a lot differently in D.C. than he talks here.
Washington has clearly changed Sherrod Brown.
Sherrod's not the guy we supported years ago.
Not at all.
And what Sherrod Brown's voting for? It's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown let us down.
Sherrod's changed. That's why we need to change senators.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and as the radio home of both the Buckeyes and the Browns, we get to listen to them every Saturday and Sunday. And in this particular last weekend, it happened on a couple occasions last year as well, you were able to listen to both Andrew Siciliano on a Buckeye game and again on a Browns game. Of course, television, or in this case, app on Saturday with the Peacock at Michigan State. Paul Keels did this last year as well, filling in for the great Jim Donovan on the Cleveland Browns radio network. Andrew joins us right now on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. When you think about, and I know you grew up in Virginia and you have all of that and grew up a Browns fan, but the notion of doing like the Buckeye State double, and you've done it a couple of times, how do you wrap your head around on those two brands and what they represent to this state?
It's pretty cool. Hi, Bo. Good morning. It's one of those, it's one of those, hey, I get to, not got to jobs, right? You know, I know you and I both love what we do, and like any other job, sometimes the hours are long and the stress is through the roof, and we all have jobs and families and other things you got to worry about, right? But these are those weekends where you step back and say, hey, I get to do this, right? Like, I don't got to do this. Like, don't worry about the stress and the time and the effort and how am I going to get from one town to the other. It's, I get to do this. And it's cool as all heck. I didn't really grow up a Buckeye fan. I mean, they were on a lot. My dad went to John Carroll and really didn't care much about the Buckeyes, believe it or not.
Sure.
But it's kind of been something, you know, later in life. But man, it's awesome, and you know, they're really good as well.
Yeah, they certainly are. And I know you did Oregon earlier in the year, so I want to ask you about just your view of those two teams because they play in 2 weeks, of course. But just from I know you a little bit now over the last couple of years, and one thing that, and even knowing of you and knowing the job that you've done throughout the years in NFL Network or radio in LA, all of that stuff, one thing that you are is prepared for everything you do. So when you think about preparing for an NFL game on a Sunday juxtaposed to a college game where you're not consistently calling the same teams, what is your preparation like for that, and how do you manage it?
Well, I'll say this: Ohio State is a heck of a lot easier to prepare for. A, because I had them once last year, and B, because they're the same team, right? I mean, with the NIL and the fact that pretty much everyone came back, this Ohio State team was a heck of a lot easier to prepare for. Conversely, Michigan State had 61 new guys and 33 freshmen. Other than, say, Maverick Hansen maybe up front who left the game with an injury, their entire defensive front, for at least their D-line, were transfers. Their secondary was all banged up. It's a lot of work. It's pretty much an around-the-clock kind of job. But, hey, we're very fortunate. We get to do Zoom meetings midweek with the road team. You get to be on the ground on Friday and go into the home team's building and meet their players and coaches. So I will say this, the SIDs, Sports Information Director, for those who don't know, always go out of their way because they want their team to look good, so they're as helpful as can be usually.
You saw, as I mentioned, Oregon a couple of weeks ago, and then you saw the Buckeyes Saturday. They meet a week from Saturday in Eugene. What are your impressions of those two teams, and what do you make of that matchup?
You know, it's funny because I got them both at times where I think they were still kind of trying to figure it out. And at least from the Ohio State perspective with Jim Knowles last week saying he wants perfection and dominance, and he was upset with the way they started slowly, in his words, against Marshall. You could argue they started slowly again against the Spartans on Saturday evening, then they kicked it into gear, and they're throwing shutouts in the second half. I think they need that second half consistency a little bit more. Oregon, when I saw them early, and it was, again, early, it was the day before the Browns-Cowboys game, week 1 of the NFL season, they very much were trying to figure it out. They hadn't unlocked their explosives yet. They had horrible trouble running the ball. The right side of their O-line was a mess. They couldn't figure out center. They had a walk-on at center, a local kid, a great story, but it simply wasn't working. They've kind of figured that out yet. And remember, they too, a little bit different than Michigan State, although Harmon is the common thread there on the D-line. They too have a lot of transfers, and they included their quarterback, and they're trying to get on the same page. I think they are there. They are not as explosive in the backfield, at least at running back, as Ohio State is certainly, but they do have a lot of speed on the edge. They have size up front. They went out and got 2 big defensive tackles, Harmon being one of them. I asked Dan Lanning point blank, is that because you're playing in the Big Ten? You know, you want to go out and get a bunch of beef, and he said, oh, no, that's just football. Got to stop the run. I'm like, all right. They will test Igbenogson and Denzel Burke on the perimeter with their speed.
Yeah, they certainly will. I asked this, and I don't think an ounce of hyperbole. Could Jeremiah Smith start on an NFL team right now?
I think he could definitely play. I really do. And it's one thing for coaches, whether it's Ryan Day or Brian Harline, Chip Kelly, whomever, you know, whatever program you're visiting, to say something on a podium midweek about how this freshman is really wise beyond his years, right? He's really playing well, and we're working him in, and we're excited about his future, right? They all say that. It's another thing for everyone behind the scenes to say he practices like a 10-year veteran. He never takes his helmet off in practice, 2 hands on the ball, blocks his tail off, wants to be on the punt block team. He could play today. Now, would he put up Marvin Harrison Jr. numbers? Probably not. Would he be Justin Jefferson tomorrow? No. Could he play? I think he could. And he doesn't turn 19 until the day after the Michigan game, or the day before the Michigan game, beg your pardon. He turns 19 the day after Thanksgiving.
We got him here for 2 more years, buddy. It's after this one, it's going to be
special, man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
and he's so humble too, Bo. Like, I'm sure he's got his ego. If you look at his Twitter handle, I believe his Twitter handle says professional football player, which I guess in today's age you are. I don't think that's an ego. I don't think that's a flex.
No.
But when we spoke to him last week on Zoom, he was smiling and happy and humble. Like he didn't have to be humble, but he was. We talked about the deep ball that Will Howard got picked off on against Marshall, and he took the blame. Said his split was too wide. Said it was on him. I got to help my quarterback. Said all the right things, unprompted. Impressive kid.
He really is. He's been well prepared and groomed for this spot and looks sensational. I will get you out of here on this one. On the Browns side of things, how much of the problems in this start are finite, and what chance do you give him at Washington Sunday in what will be a cauldron?
I give him a chance if they can rattle Jalen Daniels and stop the run. And I think last year's defense could do that. Matter of fact, last year's defense, I would expect to do that. Now, road game, home game, obviously their splits were pretty jarring last year, but I would expect that defense to do it. That's what you need this week. This number blew me away last night. 76%, I think, of their first down play calls, the Commanders here, are screens or runs. 76%.
Man.
So you know what they're going to do. They have a creative run game, and you got to tackle. You got to tackle in space. You got to tackle on the edge. You can't make them turn a 2-yard bubble into a 12-yard gain on first down. You just can't. They give them a lot of easy throws early and then kind of work up to the intermediate stuff as they go. You got to hit them in the mouth early, and then you got to play all 4 quarters offensively because they have not done that yet.
No, they have not. I really appreciate, your slam, buddy. Thanks for squeezing us in today. Appreciate you.
Dude, you're the one that hosts 2 radio shows a day, man. I'm sitting on my floor drinking coffee right now. I'm good.
Great talking to you,
need
pal.
A break.
You might be right. Andrew Siciliano, the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, and on NBC and Peacock, joining on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We get your officially endorsed at 3 things on this first Friday. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or their 2 restaurant locations in Gahanna and Grandview. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. The fall deals at Germain Honda of Dublin are beautiful. The 24 Civic LX, only $249 a month for 36 months. The 24 Accord LX, only $279 a month for 36 months. With 10,000 miles a year on the lease, $34.99 cash cap reduction, payments plus tax, tag, and document fee, and away you go. How about 0.9% up to 36 months on the 24 Prologue, the first all-electric SUV from Honda. For the best deal in town, Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road.
Rothman and Ice.
It's like when you go, if you were to buy the Willy Wonka factory, you're not taking all the W's down. I got nothing but chocolate, sexual chocolate going on.
Rothman and Ice, weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
After 31 years in Washington, just how much has Sherrod Brown changed? When he first wanted our vote, he said this.
My allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
To Ohio? Sherrod Brown voted for amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. And he voted to give them taxpayer-funded benefits, like free health care to illegals who get amnesty, Social Security checks, COVID relief checks, all to be paid for by you. And Sherrod Brown's open border policies have led to more fentanyl, dangerous gangs, even terrorists pouring into our country. So when Sherrod Brown says this,
my allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
Don't listen to what Sherrod Brown says. Watch what he does. Because Sherrod Brown doesn't vote for Ohio anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Now I gotta
kick off your Sunday shoes.
You heard the man.
Fox tonight.
It's Footloose night on the Masked Singer.
Then, TV's smash hit trivia game show is back and all new.
I'm Rob Lowe, and this is The Floor.
And this season, strategy is the ultimate power move.
You fine. Buttering up the host doesn't help.
An all-new season of The Floor.
Tonight, starting at 8 on Fox 28.
With so much happening every day,
ABC6 News is on your side, helping you understand the events that impact your community.
Do you believe Columbus City Schools is in a PR crisis?
Central Ohio's most experienced team of reporters, persistent in getting answers to the questions you're asking.
Are you worried about how people are going to react?
And when you need us, ABC6 News is on your side, finding solutions.
6 on your side, they're the ones willing to answer the phone.
You can count on ABC6 News to be on your side.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Don't be fooled by the name. Chops and Reeser are just acquaintances.
Are you guys just co-workers? It should be Bishop and acquaintances. And acquaintances. That's what it should be. I guess Bishop and Friends sounds better.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do you have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan poll, I think, is directed at Cole. It asks, how much of the MLB playoff action did you watch or listen to yesterday? All 4 games, most of them, some of them, or none. 61% of you said none. 30% said you watched some.
Yeah, really?
5% said most. 3% said all 4 games.
I'm at a
What
nice
was that number?
sum.
Say, I'm with you. I was some, but 61% of the votes to the Daily Fan poll say they didn't watch a single minute of yesterday's wild card round action, which Tuesday afternoon into the evening doesn't surprise me.
Now, I like I said, when I got home from basketball tryouts, like it was on. The wife and the boys were locked in, so they were into it. All right, time for it's a First Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday, officially endorsed because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
You drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good, because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar, because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
Yeah, and as we mentioned on Tuesday, November 12th at High Bank, we're going to be doing that gala, which is going to be incredible. And part of that are our exclusive fan barrel picks, and all 3 of these are winners. Wanted to announce them today on a First Friday because it makes all the sense in the world. These are ones that I loved. I picked these. Some other folks did as well. They're great. The cigar cask, the double oak, and the double. Very unique, 3 different flavors. The cigar cask is such an attention getter, and I'm not a big cigar guy, so I was not prepared to like it, but I absolutely loved it, and I think you will too. If you see these pop up at any of the High Bank locations, scoop them up right away. Obviously, the barrel picks will be available by the time we get there in the next month or so, but certainly appropriate for this fine First Friday. Time for 3 things. Hit it, fellas.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Number 1 for me, as I mentioned, we had 4 days of youth basketball tryouts here in town, and I'm one of the directors on it, and so we don't have anything to do with the grading of the players or anything like that. The high school coaches grade them, his staff grades them, and then we just put numbers into a system, and it plops out the 18 kids who are going to be on the 2 teams, whether it be a split team or A and B. And all of that, in theory, is, I think, the best way you can possibly do it. But I would also say that as I was leaving last night, and the 6th grade class here, which I don't have any kids in, is so damn talented. And the realization that, like, 6 or 8 kids who are really good players aren't going to make a travel team. And my advice to the parents, if you are one of those kids, is don't stop. Keep playing. The margins are razor thin on a lot of this stuff, no matter what town you're in, no matter what organization you're in. Just because there is a hiccup, do not let it stop you from continuing to play a sport that you love. There are a lot of avenues to continue playing sports in this state. It's one of the beautiful things about where we are in youth sports. So just keep playing. Don't let this deter you.
I stole this from Cole Kublick, who covers college football for ESPN and the SEC Network. For the first time since 1967, Indiana is 5-0. For the first time since 2000, the Pittsburgh Panthers are 4-0. For the first time since 2012, Rutgers is 4-0. For the first time since 2017, Navy is 4-0. And for the first time since 1978, UNLV is off to a 4-0 start. Friend of the program, Ari Wasserman, says Indiana, college football playoff?
Yeah.
Could be the Hoosiers.
Well, you went over their schedule.
They're in Columbus, November 23rd.
It's very doable.
And for the first time ever, they're all 4-0 at the exact same time. I have one more parameter to add to Tuesday, November 5th. We got Election Day.
Too much.
The NFL trade deadline. The debut of college football playoff rankings. And the debut of Tuesday Night Maction.
How did they...
33 days, folks.
Can't wait to see the sports TV ratings drop on that night.
You don't have to look at those numbers. It's all about having fun.
Yeah.
On Max.
Number 2 for me, I mentioned this, I know, earlier in the month, but I just wanted to reiterate it because I've now watched it like 3 times through. The Sopranos documentary that David Chase did, which is currently airing on HBO and on Max on the app, it might be the best documentary I've seen in a decade. It's that good. It's that comprehensive. If you loved The Sopranos and you loved how that show, and if you loved it at all and want to know how it was made, the nuts and bolts of it, all of the gritty details, it's all in there. It is a sensational watch.
From the For What It's Worth department, you've got Miami and Ball State, Bowling Green and Central Michigan on that Tuesday night. Ohio is on Wednesday against Kent State, so I don't have to devote my time there. Front Office Sports is reporting Adam Schefter could take over for Adrian Wojnarowski as ESPN's NBA insider, and he would also maintain his status as the NFL insider.
No,
absolutely. You have to be a robot to keep that kind of schedule up. There's no way.
You can't do that. You can't do that and be mentally checked in. There's no way.
Matty Ice famously has not had a French fry for the entire calendar year of 2024. So I told him, I said, hey, next year at the start of the 2025 calendar, I'm in with you. We'll pick up food. I'll do it. We're gonna rope in Tyvis. He doesn't even know about this yet, but he's involved in this too. We'll pick up food. I immediately vetoed pizza. I said I can't do that. If it's sitting in front of me, I gotta eat it. So let's do like chicken wings or something. He vetoed chicken wings immediately. So we're kind of in limbo on what we're gonna give up. But Tyvis, if you're listeing, you're in on this.
I can already tell you his answer.
What's it going to be?
No.
Yeah, no.
Even if he tells you yes, you'd have to be keeping tabs on him daily, maybe hourly.
Tyvis is trying to stay in shape.
Yeah, I know. He's been trying to stay in shape for the past 4 years.
He's still in better shape than anybody here, I think.
True.
All right, no time for 3 today. Let's just have this be the universal one. This might be your last great weather first Friday. Live, damn it. Enjoy it and act accordingly. Rothman and Ice up next. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The Fan is live and local with Morning Juice, Caffeinate, and Dominate.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is a Fan Action Update.
The updated AFC North odds have the Ravens now minus 135 to win the division. Steelers are plus 350, Bengals plus 360, and Browns 17-1 to win the AFC North. Cincinnati's a 2.5-point home underdog to Baltimore on Sunday. Cleveland's a field goal underdog against Washington. And the Steelers are a small 1.5-point favorite over the Cowboys at home. For your Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Hey, it's Anthony here, and if you're like me, you're either suffering with foot pain or expecting it to come back at any time. If you're also like me, you probably go for the easiest, most convenient solution first, the old drugstore insoles. And then you find out you can't Band-Aid foot pain. I would go out to a bar or restaurant, and I'm the guy searching for the place to sit down. I've actually gotten rid of shoes I like because my feet still hurt. Well, it all changed when I went to the Good Feet store and tried their pain relief solution. Align the feet, align the body. My personally fit Good Feet store arch supports help place my feet in their ideal position. They now distribute the pressure evenly across my feet, and that provided the additional stability and balance, and that has taken care of my pain. Go in, try the Good Feet feeling today. Take a free test walk. Bring your own shoes. See how they fit, because you deserve comfort in your life. The Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings on hundreds of items every time you shop. With new low prices, deals for days, weekly sales, and My Perks at your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
APCO, windows, siding, and decks. Business First says we're the largest remodeler in town. Our philosophy is simple. We don't rely on sales gimmicks to get our customers. We rely on our reputation.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.